Chapter 107. Ning Fan's body, which was 6 meters tall and equipped with a 7 meters gigantic sword, shone with a silvery light. Countless old monsters sucked in a breath of cold air when they sensed the heavy and murderous qi around him. In the Yu Kingdom, the 6-meter-tall body was considered an extremely ordinary body refining technique. However, when Ning Fan's body shone brightly with silver light, his ordinary 6-zhang tall body gave countless old monsters a sense of threat. This is the Silver Bone Realm. Some of the old eccentrics almost immediately cried out. They couldn't help but be shocked. If Ning Fan was really at the Silver Bone Realm, he would be able to fight against a nascent soul cultivator with just his physique. He would be the strongest in Yu country. However, some meticulous old monsters immediately discovered that even though the silver light around Ning Fan's body was strong, it was still far from what the rumors had described. The silver light that shrouded Ning Fan's body seemed to be converged into his bones. So it isn't the true Silver Bone Realm. That scared the hell out of me. The patriarch of the giant demon sect, Zhu Qing, was a late-stage golden core body tempering cultivator from Wu country. He wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. He was passing by the country of Yu and heard of this event, so he came to take a look. He didn't expect to see such a shocking scene. After all, the members of the Great Devil sect cultivated the ancient body refinement technique, the Great Devil Technique. It was a devil technique that originated from the endless sea of the Rain World. Even with his 500 years of bitter cultivation, he had only reached the stage where his body shone with silver light, which was enough to kill a golden core cultivator. Even so, it seemed to be slightly weaker than Ning Fan's silver light. Knowing that Ning Fan wasn't the real Silver Bone, the magnate heaved a sigh of relief, but his eyes showed a trace of admiration for Ning Fan for the first time. If one was not a body refinement cultivator, even if they knew that Ning Fan's silver light was extraordinary, they would not be able to estimate the true combat power of his physical body. It could be said that only the magnates knew that Ning Fan had the strength to destroy a gold core expert with a single punch. The strongest person below the gold core realm. Cough, cough, cough. The people of Yu country have underestimated this kid. In my opinion, this kid is invincible below the gold core realm. Even among the early gold core realm, there are only a few who can defeat him. The giant's evaluation was only based on the body refinement technique. If the magnates knew that Ning Fan still had many trump cards, they certainly would not come to a conclusion so easily. As for by fating, he obviously didn't know how powerful Ning Fan was. He could see through the cultivation technique of Ning Fan's 6 meters tall body and the extraordinary silver light, but he knew that he was strong enough to withstand Ning Fan's attack. Even if he couldn't block it, his speed would certainly be faster than Ning Fan's. Body refining technique required the assistance of escaping technique. Otherwise, no matter how strong his strength was, he wouldn't be able to hit his opponent. No matter how strong Ning Fan's physical body was, just the fact that he could not catch up to him had already determined his defeat. This kid is still too immature after all. Bai Fating sneered. In front of him, Ning Fan's avatar wielded a giant sword and dashed forward like a mad devil. His speed was fast enough to catch up to an early gold core realm cultivator, but it was not enough to deal with Bai Fating. Moreover, to be safe, Bai Fating still had a backup plan. He stomped on the ground, and the icy light on the ground stretched for 100 meters, condensing into an icy immortal cloud. The celestial cloud returned to his body, and with a stomp, it turned into an icy light. There were a total of 4 cloud tattoos inscribed on the celestial cloud. This 4-lined immortal cloud. This Bai Fating actually has such an escape technique. Doesn't that mean that if an early nascent soul realm old monster doesn't use the teleportation technique, they won't be able to catch up to him? Not only that. This celestial cloud is the natal celestial cloud. Elder Song Feng of Great Void Sect said solemnly, "Natal celestial cloud." As soon as these words were spoken, it instantly caused an uproar among countless cultivators. Rumor has it that only the celestial cloud of extremely high quality could be refined into a natal celestial cloud, which could be kept in one's body and be used to augment one's spirit. If there was a chance to upgrade the cloud tattoos, it could even upgrade the grade of the natal celestial cloud. This was an immortal cloud that could upgrade the grade of the natal celestial cloud. Elder Song Feng stared at Bai Fading with fear in his eyes. Dozens of years ago, he had a battle with Bai Fading that lasted for several days and nights without a clear winner. However, Bai Fading didn't use this natal celestial cloud until the end of the battle. It seemed like even Song Feng, an old rival of Bai Fading, had underestimated this person. As soon as the natal celestial cloud was summoned, Bai Fading's speed was as fast as lightning. Almost immediately he retreated 100 meters away from Ning Fan, not giving Ning Fan a chance to get close to him. At the same time, he patted his storage pouch and took out a flying sword that emitted an icy light. When the cultivators who knew the name of this sword saw it, all of them sat upright and still, their eyes filled with passion. This sword was extraordinary. His body was like an icy rainbow, as sharp as lightning. While he was flying, faint dragon roars could be heard. Hornless Ice Sword. This is one of Revered Bai's trump cards. I can't believe he used it in the first exchange. Look at Revered Bai's flying sword technique. This is the Wind Sword Pavilion of Chu, a mid-ranked cultivation country. It's called the Seven Sword Art. Rumor has it that only a few people in the Wind Sword Pavilion have learned this sword technique. Revered Bai is indeed worthy to be able to learn such a difficult sword technique. The sound of the crowd clicking their tongues could be heard, and Bai Fading enjoyed the compliments from the crowd. The reason why he used the natal celestial cloud and the hornless ice sword in the first exchange was that Ning Fan's aura was too overwhelming and the silver light was too strange. Although Bai Fading was arrogant, he was still cautious. However, when he saw that Ning Fan's speed couldn't catch up to him, he gradually revealed a trace of arrogance, and the fear in his heart turned into a sneer of ridicule. A dignified cultivator actually learned from a boorish man, brandishing a sword and boasting about your strength. Plus, that frighteningly huge sword of yours looks really clumsy and funny. How can it hit a cultivator who is as light as a swallow? Fine, this old man will teach you what a sword is and what a flying sword is. Quick! This time, Bai Fading no longer retreated. He kept the immortal cloud and his eyes were cold. Suddenly he changed his incantation gesture. The hornless ice sword immediately let out a clear cry and a cold chi rolled towards Ning Fan. Being covered by the cold chi, Ning Fan could vaguely feel that his magical power had stagnated. His magical power had been suppressed by 70%. This is the Spirit Augmentation Divine Ability, Ice Lock. Ning Fan's eyes moved. He immediately saw through the technique of Ice Lock. Hornless Ice Sword. It was a high-grade early-rank magical treasure, one of Revered Bai's ultimate magical treasures. It came with the Ice Lock Divine Ability, which could suppress the magical power of the enemy. At least 30% of a harmonious spirit cultivator's magical power would be frozen. This Spirit Augmentation Divine Ability seemed to be a nascent realm Spirit Augmentation Divine Ability. Ning Fan didn't expect that Bai Fading would have the chance to obtain it. This divine ability had locked Ning Fan's magical power. Immediately, the hornless ice sword flashed and pierced towards Ning Fan's heart. Bai Fading's Imperial Sword technique was indeed unique, locking the enemy's cultivation base and delivering a killing blow. It was as if he was afraid of killing Ning Fan on the spot. However, if the flying sword pierced through his chest, he would be severely injured even if his vital points were avoided. Ning Fan's eyes flickered with a cold light. Although the cold chi of this ice lock was extraordinary, he had nothing to fear. A trace of black fire flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. Immediately, the ice chi that had frozen his magical power was burned into nothingness. Ning Fan, who had recovered his magical power, looked at the oncoming hornless ice sword. His eyes lit up. He waved his giant sword, stirring up a gust of wind, and slashed at the tip of the hornless ice sword. Ning Fan's action immediately earned a sneer from Revered Bai, who was controlling the flying sword from afar. Ignorant! Your sword doesn't have any power and its grade is obviously lower than my flying sword. Your sword will definitely break if you clash with it recklessly. He sneered, but in the next moment, his eyes were filled with shock. It broke. It really broke, but it wasn't Ning Fan's giant sword that broke, but his high-grade hornless ice sword. When Ning Fan's giant sword released its full power, Bai Feiting discovered that the seemingly clumsy and ridiculous giant sword was actually a peak mid-grade magical treasure. When the giant sword collided with the hornless ice sword, a faint sound of thunder could be heard. It wasn't the giant sword itself that broke the hornless ice sword, but the lightning intent in the sword. It wasn't the spirit augmentation divine ability. What was this lightning? This is the heavenly tribulation lightning line of the lightning water. Although it's very faint, it can't be wrong. This brat is really lucky to be able to forge a divine weapon with this lightning water. The beggar's eyes flickered as he stared at Ning Fan without blinking. A sword with the force of 10,000 jin. The giant sword clashed with the hornless ice sword, producing a thunderous sound. Cracks immediately appeared on the hornless ice sword, its light dimmed and rolled backwards. Bai Feiting revealed a painful expression as he held the hornless ice sword. The sword was severely damaged and it would be difficult to repair it. Ning Fan, this old man has already shown mercy to you. Why did you destroy my magical treasure? Revered Bai shouted angrily. Mercy? Injuring me seriously is showing mercy? Today, I won't kill you, but I will injure you seriously. Show mercy. The power of spirit sense flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. At the next moment, he disappeared without a trace. Not to mention Bai Feiting, even the peak gold core experts on the scene, including Sinister Sparrow, felt a chill in their hearts. No one could detect where Ning Fan was hiding and where he attacked from. What level of invisibility technique is this? Bai Feiting's face turned ugly. Since he couldn't detect Ning Fan's attack route, he couldn't rely on the immortal cloud to escape to the right direction and widen the distance between them. While he was hesitating, Ning Fan's figure suddenly appeared behind him. In an instant, Bai Feiting's hair stood on end. He turned around and retreated with the immortal cloud. You can't escape. Ning Fan's eyes narrowed. The giant sword slammed down fiercely. Lightning flashed and locked onto Bai Feiting, freezing his retreating immortal cloud. It wasn't freezing, but the heavenly tribulation. This is impossible. After a cultivator broke through to the gold core realm, he would have to face the heavenly tribulation. The power of the heavenly tribulation varied from lightning to fire to wind, from small to big. But there was one thing in common. There was no way to avoid the heavenly tribulation. Because the heavenly tribulation was the heaven's might, it had the effect of locking on to the heaven's secret. No matter how smart a person was, could he hide from the heaven? There was no way to escape. Whether it was the immortal cloud flying escape, nascent soul instantaneous movement, or even the spirit-severing great teleportation technique, none of them could escape from the heaven's fate. Once the heavenly tribulation had locked on to the heavenly tribulation, one's body would be immobilized, and one could only walk with one's physical body. What shocked Bai Feiting wasn't only the heavenly tribulation, but also the heavenly might that Ning Fan's sword carried. Bai Feiting wasn't the only one who was bewildered. Most of the old monsters were interested in Ning Fan's sword. However, Bai Feiting didn't have the time to be surprised because Ning Fan's sword had already slashed down on his head. He didn't cultivate any body refining technique, so he couldn't escape from Ning Fan's sword light with his physical body. As such, he could only face it head-on. The distance was too close, so close that he couldn't use his flying sword to hurt the enemy. However, Revered Bai was a famous figure for many years. Since he had no way to escape, he could only fight to the death. He was able to live until today because of his ruthlessness. With a ruthless look in his eyes, Bai Feiting raised his hornless ice sword horizontally to meet Ning Fan's giant sword. In his point of view, no matter how strong Ning Fan's physical strength was, Ning Fan's magical power was still a few realms lower than his. It wouldn't be difficult for him to overcome Ning Fan's physical strength by suppressing his magical power. However, he had underestimated Ning Fan's physical strength. In this slash, the ancient beast wrist guard on Ning Fan's right wrist emitted a faint light. An ancient demonic chi emerged in Ning Fan's body, causing his physical strength to increase by 30%. It increased by 30%. One slash had the strength of 13,000 jin. As soon as the two swords collided, Bai Feiting immediately felt the web between his thumb and forefinger tremble. The huge force passed through the sword to his arm and chest, causing his blood and chi to boil. Immediately, he spurted out a mouthful of blood. The hornless ice sword almost fell out of his hand, but in the end he managed to block Ning Fan's sword. However, Ning Fan's attack was far from stopping. The second slash was followed by another slash. The second slash drew the power of lightning, and the momentum of the sword was even stronger. Bai Fading was faintly afraid of this giant sword, but he had no choice but to face the second slash head-on. For this slash, Bai Fading used the gold core sword Qi, the heavenly devil sword, which he was not familiar with. He ignited his blood essence and barely managed to block the second slash. Even so, under the impact of the huge force, Bai Fading's blood and Qi churned. He coughed out another mouthful of blood and his face began to turn pale. Apparently, his internal organs were severely injured. Fear rose in his heart. He bit the tip of his tongue and was ready to cast the blood escape art to break free from the lock of the heavenly tribulation. However, Ning Fan's sword was faster. It was obviously heavy and bulky, but in Ning Fan's hand, it was as light as a feather, as if it was his arm. For the third slash, Ning Fan also activated the sword intent, White Bone Mountain. Within 100 zhang radius, countless white bone sword shadows appeared. On the sword light of the giant sword, all the murderous intent converged into a blood-red line. The line was extremely illusory, but in Bai Fading's eyes, it was as if he had seen a ghost. Line of law. What kind of sword Qi is this? The third slash, the hornless ice sword, shattered. Bai Fading was swept away by the sword Qi, spurting out blood. If it wasn't for the fact that he had cast the blood escape art, this slash would have seriously injured him. Even if he managed to retreat in time, the injury he suffered was definitely not light. His heart was filled with horror. He distanced himself from Ning Fan and immediately took out a purplish-red bead and crushed it. Immediately, his left eye turned purple and his right eye turned red. Both of his eyes emitted a power that could see through invisibility, causing Ning Fan's expression to change slightly. Breaking illusion bead. It can see through the invisibility of nascent soul cultivators and break all illusions of nascent realm formations. It's priceless. I never thought that you would use this item in a mere gamble. Ning Fan had yet to display his most powerful trump card, but Bai Fading seemed to have been forced into a dead end. He had indeed become stronger. However, it seemed like it wouldn't be easy to win with just his physical strength. Bai Fading couldn't be underestimated. This man had a lot of experience in killing. Although he was defeated by Ning Fan several times, he still managed to escape using various means. However, no matter how hard he struggled, he would still win. Ning Fan had the confidence and strength to do so. On the Purple Jade Sky platform, all the cultivators were shocked when they saw Bai Fading being forced to use the breaking illusion bead. Initially, everyone thought that Revered Bai could defeat Ning Fan with ease. But the fact was that Ning Fan was able to suppress Revered Bai with his tyrannical strength. Ning Fan's face wasn't red and he wasn't out of breath, but Revered Bai was already heavily injured. This is impossible. Bai couldn't believe it. He could explain his defeat to Ning Fan because his realm was lower than Ning Fan's, but how could his father, a famous figure with a cultivation base far surpassing Ning Fan, lose to a junior like Ning Fan? The pride in his heart was shattered for the first time, turning into a painful expression. Impossible. Bai clenched his teeth and persisted, but the truth couldn't be refuted. Outside the platform, Jihee's mouth was slightly agape. She had never thought that her brother Fan would be this powerful. Although her brother Fan had always been omnipotent in her heart, this was her first time witnessing Ning Fan's ruthlessness. Lan Mei, on the other hand, revealed a proud expression, as if she wanted to proclaim to the others that the valiant man on the platform was her husband. Only Si Wuxia's eyes darkened from time to time, as if she had thought of something, but it wasn't. She shook her head in annoyance, suppressing all the thoughts in her mind. Surprisingly, she didn't follow Jihee's lead like usual. The beggar, on the other hand, looked at Ning Fan's heroic spirit that could conquer the world with a solemn expression. Giant sword? Ancient fiend god? Is this kid thinking of dual cultivation? This kid has the immemorial devil vein. I wonder which one is better between him and my Rain Emperor Divine Vein. Forget it, he's still a junior after all. If I argue with him, I'll be at a disadvantage. Compared to Bai Fading, the beggar was obviously more heroic and unrestrained. But when he thought that Ning Fan's family was about to win all the immortal jades that he had earned, he felt a heartache. His treasure bowl was fake. He came here to cheat the immortal jades. It wasn't easy for him to set up this bet. Could it be that all of it was going to benefit Ning Fan's family? As for the beggar, he couldn't help but cheer for Ning Fan in his heart, hoping that Ning Fan would win. If Ning Fan won, his capital and profit would offset each other. If Ning Fan lost, or drew, he would have to face 100 or even 1,000 times compensation. That wouldn't be a loss, but a complete loss. Chapter 108. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with fire. Within ancient chaos's memories, fiend gods that transformed into 30 kilometers tall and annihilated an abode star with a single punch could be found everywhere. After withdrawing his avatar, Ning Fan exhaled lightly and kept the giant sword. Then, he opened his mouth and spat out the Separation Slayer flying sword in the form of starlight. He looked at Revered Bai indifferently. Revered Bai's face turned gloomy. He instinctively felt fear and took half a step back. He was afraid. The clash of swords and the battle of breaking the technique with brute force had terrified Bai Fading. He recited the incantation to sweep away the fear in his heart and restored his usual cold and arrogant expression. I still have the Myriad Soul Banner and the Purple Loathe Ice Frost. I have already used the Breaking Illusion Bead. He can no longer use his body refining technique to get close to me. I will not lose. Revered Bai's face reappeared with pride and confidence. Although it was much weaker than before, this was the first time Ning Fan paid more attention to Revered Bai. Regardless of his cultivation base, Revered Bai was an old monster who had lived for hundreds of years. His state of mind was extremely calm. As for Ning Fan, the only thing he couldn't compare to Bai Fading was his state of mind. Heart Devil. Ning Fan had yet to eliminate his Heart Devil and form his gold core. His state of mind was still lacking compared to Revered Bai. However, fighting wasn't about one's weakness, but one's strength. He had to use his strongest technique to fight for a result. Mortals were ignorant. They learned poetry, book etiquette and book of changes. As a result, they could only master a few of them and use them in the future. Gradually, Ning Fan's state of mind improved a little. His worries about his strength had been swept away. I can kill my enemies. That means I'm strong. Even if my state of mind, cultivation technique, and age aren't as good as him. The Harmonious Spirit cultivators didn't understand the change in Ning Fan's vision and the improvement of his state of mind. However, the Gold Core cultivators knew that it was the sign of a breakthrough in his state of mind. This kid actually broke through his state of mind during a fight. His aptitude could be said to be monstrous. Only Bai Fading's eyelids twitched as if he had regained his previous arrogance. He couldn't bear to see Ning Fan stealing the limelight. Deliberately mystifying. This time, I won't give you the chance to display your body refining technique. I'll let you know the terror of the Myriad Soul Banner. His face sank. He slapped his storage pouch and took out a blood-red soul banner. It flickered with light and surged with killing intent. Ghostly cries came from it. It was unknown how many people Revered White had killed in his life and absorbed them into the soul banner. As soon as the soul streamer appeared, countless old monsters' eyes turned cold. Revered Bai had actually used his strongest magical treasure, the Myriad Soul Streamer. Facing a Harmonious Spirit Junior, he actually used all of his means. After a slight hesitation, Bai Fading took out a black heavy armor and put it on. This is a gold Mystic Peak grade spirit equipment, the Profound Heavy Armor. Its effect is to defend against the full attack of an intermediate gold core cultivator. The pupils of all the old monsters shrank, especially Venerable White's old enemy, Elder Song Fong, who clenched his fists and had a deep look in his eyes. Old Bai, I didn't expect you to have this spiritual equipment. If you had this during the battle that year, I would have been defeated by you. You really have hidden your strength well. After taking out the Myriad Soul Streamer and the Profound Heavy Armor, Bai Fading's heart finally calmed down. These were his trump cards. If he still couldn't defeat Ning Fan, he might as well find a piece of tofu and kill himself. He sneered at Ning Fan, but he didn't see any fear in Ning Fan's eyes as he expected. Ning Fan's eyes glanced at the two magical treasures of revered Bai and revealed a disdainful look. The Myriad Soul Streamer. This streamer is made from the blood sacrifice of 10,000 souls. Once the 10,000 souls are unleashed, even a late gold core cultivator wouldn't be able to resist it, but it's easy to break it. The profound heavy armor, what a good tortoise shell. A peak gold mystic spirit equipment, only a step away from jade mystic. Unfortunately, it's not difficult to break it. In Ning Fan's eyes, there wasn't any feeling of blood boiling or nervousness, only calmness. Wang Yao could give him a sense of crisis and nervousness, but revered Bai wasn't enough. It's still not too late for you to step down now. Ning Fan's tone was indifferent, but it was undoubtedly a huge joke to revered Bai. Step down? This old man has already used my trump card, and you still want to step down? Ridiculous. Without the body refining technique, you are nothing. Bai Fading shook the Myriad Soul Streamer. Innumerable souls with hollow eye sockets and bloody mouths floated towards Ning Fan like dark clouds, wailing eerily. Each of these souls only had the strength of 7th level vein opening. It was easy for harmonious spirit and gold core cultivators to kill a single one of them, but the unique feature of this soul streamer was that it was inexhaustible. 10,000 ants could bite an elephant to death. 10,000 ghosts could devour immortals and Buddhas. If Ning Fan didn't break the main soul, he would be in danger. The refinement of a soul streamer required a main soul to control all the soul fragments. Only then would it become a high-grade soul streamer. Although Lu Ziqiao's soul refining streamer had many souls, it lacked a strong main soul. Therefore, its actual power was far inferior to Bai Fading's streamer. As long as the main soul didn't die, the soul fragments wouldn't die. This was the real troublesome part of the soul streamer. When 10,000 souls appeared at the same time, you wouldn't be able to find out which soul was the hidden main soul in a short period of time. There was even a possibility that the main soul was hiding inside the streamer. Each of the old monsters outside the battlefield felt their scalp tingling when they saw the wailing of 10,000 souls. Soul refinement cultivators were the hardest to deal with. Body-seizing cultivators were the hardest to kill. And the longer the soul refinement cultivators lived, the more powerful they would become. 100,000 soul streamers, 1 million soul streamers, 10 million soul streamers, and 1 billion soul streamers. The more souls there were, the more changes the streamer would have and the more powerful it would be. However, the number of slaughter streamers would be too many. There's no need to watch this kid anymore. Elder Song Feng closed his eyes and frowned. He had suffered a great loss under revered Bai's soul streamer. Naturally, he didn't think highly of Ning Fan. As expected of revered Bai, this soul streamer is invincible among intermediate gold core experts. Lu Ziqiao, who was already a deacon disciple, had a fiery look on his face. Although he was proud and arrogant, he still admired revered Bai very much. But immediately, wails of ghosts were heard, causing Song Feng to open his eyes in disbelief, staring at the battlefield with his old eyes. Ning Fan didn't even try to avoid the Yin souls. He didn't even try to find the main soul. With just a flick of his finger, the separation slayer turned into endless starlight and disappeared in a flash. Immediately, the ghosts began to burn for no reason. In an instant, more than half of the 10,000 remnant souls had been burned. The ordinary Yin souls were still at a loss and instinctively felt fear. Among them, an inconspicuous red-clothed child's soul revealed a horrified look and fled towards the Myriad Soul Streamer. This child was the main soul, because he was the only soul that still retained its spirituality. Extinguish! Ning Fan's eyes and hands were quick. With a flick of his finger, the flying sword flashed. The child was hit by the sword shadow and his soul vanished. Along with the destruction of the main soul, the Myriad Soul Streamer in revered Bai's hand let out a sorrowful wail. Suddenly, it was filled with countless cracks. One by one, the Yin souls began to explode, turning into soul power and returning to the streamer. Similarly, the power of the Myriad Soul Streamer was greatly damaged. No. My myriad soul streamer. Ning Fan, you've gone too far. Fall of the ice sun. By fading kept the myriad soul streamer fiercely. His eyes glowed with purple light. Both of his hands were changing hand seals. Above the sky, cold chi condensed into 100 zhang large sun. However, this sun was formed by the ice chi, and it was purple cold chi. Fall of the ice sun, a mid-grade core magical technique. Isn't this the technique that old monster Yang Qing was proud of? Rumor has it that old monster Yang Qing was killed by his enemy 100 years ago, and the whereabouts of this technique was unknown. So the one who killed this monster was revered by. This purple chi is the 4th grade cold chi, purple loathe ice frost. Facing this technique, Ning Fan felt a trace of pressure for the first time, even if it was just a trace. His eyes turned cold. He knew that he could only use the black demon flame to destroy this ice sundae. It won't be difficult to destroy this ice sun with the second revolution of the dragon vortex fire. Ning Fan's eyes moved. When he was about to cast the technique, he heard the voice of the mysterious woman who had been sleeping in the yin-yang locket in his danton. Purple loathe ice frost. Ning Fan, take this away. It's very useful to my sister. Take it away? I have a high chance of breaking this ice frost, but take it away. Do you really think that I am a nascent soul expert? Do you really think that I can take something away from by fading? Ning Fan smiled bitterly in his heart. I beg you. This item is very important to my sister. This was the first time that the mysterious woman pleaded with Ning Fan. Forget it. I will help you, but how do I take it away? Ning Fan's heart softened. This woman had saved him several times when he was in danger. Since she was begging him, how could he refuse? If the mysterious woman didn't have a way, then he would have to rely on himself to snatch it away. It wouldn't matter even if he had to expose his trump card. Once he used his trump card, it would be a piece of cake for him to snatch away the ice frost. There's no need to go through so much trouble. My sister has a way to absorb this ice frost and break this magical technique. You only need to rush into the ice sun. Rush into the ice sun. Ning Fan's eyelids twitched. This was a mid-grade core magical technique that was cast with the 4th grade cold chi. The 4th grade cold chi was only a step away from the heavenly frost cold chi. Should he trust this woman and risk his life? I beg you, just this once. Ning Fan's eyes revealed a resolute look. If he rushed into the ice sun, he would cast the sense defense art if the situation turned bad. He would certainly be severely injured, but he wouldn't die. He would trust this woman this time and help her to repay her kindness. Chapter 109. As soon as the ice sun appeared, the entire purple jade sky platform was shrouded in cold and snowflakes fell. It was extremely difficult for Revered Bai to cast this technique, but its power was spectacular. However, its power was extremely magnificent. A trace of heavenly might made everyone gasp for breath. The sun, moon, and stars were the supreme objects of the heaven and earth. Any magical technique that was related to the sun, moon, and stars would have boundless power. Although this ice sun was only a mid-core realm magical technique, it carried a trace of heaven's might of sunset. Moreover, it was cast by Revered Bai. Only a few late gold core cultivators could withstand it. If you can withstand this technique, this old man will admit defeat, but you can't. Bai Fading's eyes glinted with cold light. At this moment, there was no desire or thought in his heart. There was no victory or defeat, only calmness. But when he saw Ning Fan leaping into the ice sun, his state of mind was thrown into chaos. Not only Bai Fading, but all the experts and even the beggar didn't expect that Ning Fan would dare to resist the might of the sunset with his flesh and blood. No, impossible. This is the heaven's might technique. How could he resist the sun with his body? Bai Fading couldn't help but be shocked. After agreeing to the mysterious lady's request, Ning Fan's eyes glinted with determination. With a flash of cold light, he went into the attack of the ice sun. Just by coming into contact with the chilly sunlight, Ning Fan's body began to freeze rapidly like an ice sculpture. He didn't even have the chance to cast the sense defense art. He realized that he had underestimated the power of the ice sun. The ice sun wasn't the scariest thing, but the sun. The rising of the sun and the setting of the moon represented the heaven's might, a domain that cultivators couldn't touch. According to the ancient legends, the sun was the saint, the moon was the emperor, and the stars were the fiend gods. Even if the sense defense art couldn't defend against the ice sun, he still had one last method: to summon the sense soul incarnation and use his half-step nascent soul cultivation base to shatter the ice sun. However, before summoning the sense soul incarnation, perhaps the mysterious lady would absorb the purple loath frost and break 90% of the power of the ice sun. If you don't absorb the cold chi, then I will shatter this sun. Ning Fan said indifferently. I'll pass you an incantation. This incantation can slightly resist the true yang energy. Take this incantation as a reward for helping my sister. However, you mustn't tell anyone else about this incantation, otherwise. The mysterious woman seemed to be hesitant. I won't tell anyone about it. Ning Fan's tone was still flat, but there was a hint of urgency in it. If he drags on any longer, the magic power of the ice sun would corrode him even more. By then, even if he uses his sense soul incarnation, he might not be able to escape unscathed. Listen up. In the Northern Ocean, there is a fish called Kuan. In the Northern Ocean, there is a saint called Hun Kuan. There was a day in the Northern Sea named Een Rong. There is thunder in the Northern Sea. Its name is Thunder Grief. When the woman finished reciting the incantation, she suddenly stopped. She didn't know how to do the rest. This mantra was something he had obtained by chance. After listening to this mantra, Ning Fan's expression changed and he chanted it in his heart. There were only 4 sentences of the mantra, but as soon as he chanted it, the irresistible corrosive force of the ice sun turned into a gentle breeze. It couldn't hurt Ning Fan anymore, and gradually, it was devoured by Ning Fan. That trace of corrosive force was called the true yang energy. It was a taboo force that Ning Fan couldn't touch with his current realm or even the realm of a divine emperor of the rain world. A trace of it was insignificant. After Ning Fan devoured it, it immediately disappeared without a trace due to Ning Fan's insufficient realm. Even so, it still left a trace of mark in Ning Fan's mind. He had a vague understanding of the sunset, but he couldn't see through it. What surprised Ning Fan the most was that the silent Eastern Ocean bell in his storage pouch suddenly let out a clear Dao sound. The bell rang, reverberating in Ning Fan's mind. Eastern Ocean, Northern Ocean. Perhaps this bell has something to do with the Northern Ocean mantra that the mysterious woman mentioned. Ning Fan had a vague guess in his mind, but he knew that the connection wasn't something that a harmonious spirit like him could figure out. Although he didn't understand the abstruse of the mantra nor the mystery of the Eastern Ocean bell, Ning Fan was sure that the Eastern Ocean bell was extraordinary for the first time. He didn't know why, but he suddenly remembered the profound Een world within the Een Yang locket. There was a huge sun that was half black and half white. The power of the ice sun couldn't hurt Ning Fan anymore. The woman in the Een Yang locket took the opportunity to cast a magical technique to devour the 4th grade cold chi in the ice sun, the purple loath ice frost. This technique consumed a lot of her energy, but it seemed like the purple loath ice frost was more important to her. Ning Fan didn't stay idle inside the ice sun. He closed his eyes and seemed to have comprehended something. What he comprehended was his own heart's devil. What was in front of him was the heaven's might. Under the heaven's might, the heart's devil was exceptionally clear. Through his inner heart, Ning Fan could vaguely see an extremely cold and gloomy corner of his heart. In that corner, there were the sufferings of his childhood, the helplessness, despair, hatred when he was imprisoned in the all-pleasure sect, and the madness that destroyed the heaven separation sect. That corner had gathered all of Ning Fan's negative emotions. If they were condensed into one, it would become the heart's devil. But Ning Fan knew that his heart's devil was far more than that. Compared to these negative emotions, the scariest thing was love. Gold core cultivators needed to sever their emotions. That was why many old monsters who resorted to trickery wouldn't look for a Dao companion before reaching the gold core realm. Their hearts would lack a trace of emotion, so when they severed their heart's devil, they didn't need to face the barrier of love, they only needed to sever their negative emotions. Their hearts didn't have any struggle, so severing their heart's devil wouldn't have much effect on them. Without emotion in their hearts, It would be extremely difficult for them to advance their gold core realm. If Ning Fan had a choice, he would rather not get to know Ji He and the other women before reaching the gold core realm. In this way, even if he lacked the emotion, it would still be better than severing the emotions in their hearts. Unfortunately, he had no other choice. In order to break through the gold core realm, he must sever all ties with the women in the past. Can I do it? At this moment, Ning Fan suddenly opened his eyes. His hollow eyes stared at the gradually fading ice sun in front of him, struggling. If he didn't break through the gold core realm, he would certainly die when Moksha Sovereign attacked him 100 years later. Severing the heart's devil meant forgetting Ji He and the other women. In this way, even if he claimed to love them, he would still treat them as his cauldrons in the end. Then, what was the trace of warmth that Ning Fan protected when he fought against Moksha Sovereign? His heart was struggling. The more difficult the struggle, the more it showed that the heart's devil that he was about to face was incomparably powerful. As his heart struggled, a trace of boundless chi rose from his body. Tribulation clouds condensed in the sky. This was the sign of drawing the heavenly tribulation and breaking through to the gold core realm. In an instant, Ning Fan's dazed expression was swept away, and he regained his clarity. He was secretly shocked that he almost initiated the heavenly tribulation to break through to the gold core realm. Not to mention the success rate, if he went into seclusion here, he would need at least 10 years of comprehension. In order to break through to the gold core realm, he originally planned to go to the Lost World Palace to cultivate. Relying on the slow flow of time, he shortened the 10 years of comprehension to a few years. His forehead was covered with cold sweat. He dispersed the comprehension of the heart's devil and the tribulation clouds in the sky disappeared. However, Ning Fan didn't know that the scene of his heart's devil being triggered and the heavenly tribulation had silenced the entire place. He was still alive after rushing into the ice sun. Moreover, no one knew what method he used in the ice sun, but he wasn't hurt at all and was about to break through to the gold core heavenly tribulation. It was a wise move for him to disperse the heavenly tribulation in time. After all, the spiritual chi on the amethyst sky platform was thin. It would be very difficult to enter seclusion here. The reason why the old monsters were shocked wasn't because Ning Fan had initiated the heavenly tribulation, but because his cultivation speed was too fast. Before he joined the sect, he was an intermediate harmonious spirit expert. After entering the demon sinister forest for a month, he had broken through to the late harmonious spirit realm. Half a year later, he was already at the peak of harmonious spirit realm. Moreover, he had completely found his heart's devil during the battle, allowing him to break through to form his core in seclusion. Fast, too fast. Yu country was going to have a gold core cultivator who was only a few decades old. This was simply a monstrous aptitude. Those with profound cultivation base such as Sinister Sparrow, Elder Song Feng and the Beggar Youth could vaguely see the struggle in Ning Fan's heart when the heavenly tribulation was shaking. Among them, Sinister Sparrow, who had the deepest understanding of Ning Fan, let out a sigh. He understood why Ning Fan was struggling. Because this kid had too many beauties to tie him down. Would he choose to forget them? Ning Fan had struggled before. After breaking through to the gold core realm, he would certainly become a top expert. His cultivation speed would advance by leaps and bounds. But what would he choose? Would he choose to form his core? Sinister Sparrow's face revealed a trace of shame. Even he didn't have any emotional debt before he formed his core. It was only after he formed his core that he formed a relationship with Lan Mei's mother. He didn't dare to sever his emotions. Bai Fading's face turned gloomy once more, but there was fear in it. His ice sun falling technique couldn't hurt Ning Fan at all. On the contrary, it had helped Ning Fan to completely comprehend his heart's devil. Not long after that, Bai Fading's eyes quivered. He found that the ice sun began to turn illusory and even shattered. This is the heaven's might. Bai Fading took 2 steps back and stabilized his body. Once again, he struck out several magical forces into the ice sun in an attempt to stabilize it. But immediately, the corner of his eyes shrunk, revealing a horrified expression. A dot of black fire rose faintly from the ice sun and immediately engulfed the 4 dimensions, incinerating all the icy chi. Break! The voice of a youth came out from the ice sun immediately, the huge sun that shook everyone's heart shattered with a loud bang. A youth was controlling the black dragon fire. His eyes were cold and his body was covered in ice shards. With a finger, he shattered the illusory ice sundae. "It's over," the youth said indifferently. His eyes flashed with black light. With a point of his finger, the surging black fire in his hand turned into a sea of fire. Then, like a black whirlpool, it engulfed revered by Black Demon Flame. Earth Vein Demonic Flame. 5th grade spiritual fire. Countless old monsters rose to their feet and stared at the black flame in disbelief. According to the knowledge of many old monsters, this flame was the flame of Old Monster Han, the apothecary. With this flame, Old Monster Han could become one of the top 10 experts in Yu country even though he was only a harmonious spirit expert. Everyone knew that Ning Fan was the disciple of the Old Monster, but no one knew that the Old Monster would pass this flame to Ning Fan. The Earth Vein Demonic Flame. Once this flame is unleashed, even the 4th grade cold chi won't be a match for it. There's no suspense in this battle. Elder Songfeng's eyes were filled with shock. He could only watch as his old opponent was about to lose to a youth. However, he didn't feel that it was unbelievable. Instead, he felt that it was a matter of course. The strength displayed by this youth was too strong. It would be ridiculous if he still couldn't defeat revered Bai. "No, I won't be defeated. This old man still has the profound heavy armor." Bai Feiting's eyes were filled with madness. He gathered all of his magical force into the profound heavy armor, trying to defend against Ning Fan's black flame. The profound heavy armor let out a sizzling sound, as if it couldn't withstand the might of the black flame. Eventually, it managed to withstand the attack. But at this moment, Ning Fan changed his hand's seal and a voice was heard. "Dragon Vortex Fire, 1st Revolution." In an instant, the flame rose to a height of 10 meters. The whirlpool suddenly rotated. The profound heavy armor let out a sizzling sound and cracks began to appear. "Don't break it." Bai Feiting took out a dozen Dan-grade talismans and stuck them on the profound heavy armor. Rays of light rose from the sea of fire and turned into layers of defense. In this way, the profound heavy armor was finally able to defend against the might of the 1st Revolution Dragon Flame. But the 2nd Revolution was coming. Dragon Vortex Fire, 2nd Revolution. After the 2nd Revolution, the color of the sea of fire became darker. Bai Feiting's beard and hair began to burn as he was sucked into the whirlpool. The cracks on the profound heavy armor began to spread again. It wasn't far from breaking. This old man said, "Don't break it." Revered Bai seemed to have gone mad. He patted his storage pouch and took out a bottle of secret pills that could increase magical force. His meridians felt swollen and painful. His magical force rose again and fused into the profound heavy armor to strengthen its defense, resisting the 2nd revolution of Ning Fan's Dragon Flame. The 2nd revolution of Dragon Flame could even severely injure an early gold core cultivator. With the help of the Black Demon Flame, the power of this technique was even greater. In the arena, the coldness was swept away and the temperature was as hot as summer. Each of the old experts was drenched in sweat as they looked at the Dragon Flame technique with a shocked expression. Most of them couldn't withstand this flame. Now that Bai Feiting was severely injured, he was still able to withstand the flame, which made the situation even more complicated and confusing. The 2nd revolution isn't enough. If this kid uses the 3rd revolution, no. The 3rd revolution Dragon Flame, even the overbearing Old Monster Han might not be able to use it. A gold core old expert who had been bullied by the Old Monster, the sect master of Flying Swallow Sect, Su Fei, sighed and said. It was impossible for him to use the 3rd revolution. Su Fei's words made many old experts agree with him. Ning Fan's magical force was also consumed. If he couldn't break revered Bai's defense, the two of them would have a draw. A draw. In this case, the winnings will be much lesser. Forget it. Fortunately, revered Bai won't be defeated. At least the money I bet won't be in vain. The hearts of some old monsters were still thinking about that heart-stirring bet. No one expected revered Bai to win anymore. They only hoped that Revered by wouldn't be defeated and end the battle in a draw. But they were destined to be disappointed, because Ning Fan changed his technique again. Dragon Vortex Fire, Third Revolution. Black Dragon, bite him. Ning Fan's eyes glinted with cold light. The whirlpool of the Sea of Fire expanded. In the depths of the whirlpool, the flames condensed into a huge dragon head. It wanted to bite Revered Bai's shoulder, tearing off a large piece of heavy armor along with a piece of flesh. Revered Bai let out a wail, but the pain in his shoulder aroused his ruthlessness. He took out more than 10 magical treasures, all of which were mid-grade magical treasures. Each of them was an extremely precious treasure. But at this moment he had forgotten about winning or losing, the bet and everything else. There was only one thought in his mind, to block Ning Fan's attack and protect his reputation. One after another, the magical treasures were detonated by Revered Bai. The aftershock of the explosion dispersed layers of the Sea of Fire, creating an opening. Revered Bai covered his injured shoulder and seized the opportunity to rush out of the Sea of Dragon Vortex Fire. His beard and hair were all burnt, leaving him bald and dirty. His profound heavy armor was full of cracks, making him look extremely miserable. But in the end, he managed to block Ning Fan's Third Revolution Dragon Fire. Finally, it's a draw. In this way, I won't lose all my face. There was no longer a trace of desire to win in his heart. He realized that he was no match for Ning Fan. Ning Fan also had a clear understanding of how difficult it was to deal with Revered Bai. This was a gold core old monster that was tempered in the Blood Sea. He was definitely not as weak as Bing Ling and Yu Ling. In this world, there were countless old monsters like him. He must not underestimate his enemy. Ice Rain Technique. Ning Fan didn't seem to have much magical power left. He flicked his finger and casted a low-grade Ice Rain Technique. This technique was insignificant in the eyes of countless old monsters, and Revered Bai didn't put it in his eyes at all. He was panting heavily, looking at the icicles in the sky and sneered. It's a draw, this ice rain can't hurt me. The icicles pierced the profound heavy armor and were easily blocked. However, the cold chi in the icicles penetrated through the profound heavy armor and shattered into pieces without a sign. The remaining icicles pierced Revered Bai's defenseless body one after another, turning him into a bloody mess. Of course, Ning Fan avoided the vital parts. He had said that he wouldn't kill Revered Bai, he would only injure him severely. What? Revered Bai could even withstand the Third Revolution Dragon Fire. How could he be defeated by a mere Ice Rain technique? Each of the old monsters was dumbfounded. They were surprised that Ning Fan could cast 2 magical techniques of different attributes with just one immortal vein. Dragon Vortex Fire. Ning Fan must have a fire vein to cast it. Although the grade of the Ice Rain technique was low, Ning Fan also needed an ice vein to cast it. A dual spirit cultivator. All the cultivators who guessed this looked at Ning Fan in disbelief. They also had an answer as to why Ning Fan's cultivation speed was so fast. A dual spirit cultivator, a monstrous aptitude. Revered Bai's breath was weak. He wished he could die immediately. To him, not dying and being looked down upon by everyone was worse than death. He was a man with integrity, regardless of his character. The reason why you lost is because you underestimated me. The name of Revered Bai has made you used to being superior, forgetting that there is always someone better than you out there. The cultivation world is vast. You and I aren't the strongest. Even those void fragmentation experts that are high above us are far from the strongest. After saying these words, Ning Fan's eyes lightly swept past the beggar and then moved away as if nothing had happened, leaving no trace behind. Don't provoke me again or else. Ning Fan didn't say anything else and turned to leave. He walked to the center of the venue and swept his eyes across the guests. Under his intense gaze, even the gold core old monsters didn't dare to make a sound. This kid wasn't the strongest under the gold core realm. Even if it was above the gold core realm, there were only a few who could defeat him. From today onwards, there will be no Revered Bai in Sinister Sparrow Sect. There will only be me, Revered Ning. Chapter 110. Half a month had passed, but the old experts who stayed in Sinister Sparrow sect still looked miserable, as if their fathers had died. All the immortal jades were gone. Those who bet on Ning Fan's defeat or a draw lost all their immortal jades. Like all the other old experts, the beggar couldn't feel happy. Little Ji He and Cece took away 200,000 immortal jades from the beggar. At this moment, Ji He smiled sweetly, feeling that she was too smart. She had won so much money just by making up her mind. When Lan Mei placed the huge amount of wealth in front of Sinister Sparrow, even the scheming Sinister Sparrow couldn't help but feel his heart tremble. 100,000 immortal jades. As the master of a sect, how could he not be tempted? Bai Lu also returned to Dual Cultivation Palace with 10,000 immortal jades to distribute the rewards. As for the wife of Fire Cloud Old Ancestor, Yunhua, she was so shocked that she couldn't close her mouth. She held the 100,000 immortal jades in her hands and didn't know what to do. She had originally followed the old ancestor's order to throw the 100,000 immortal jades into the water to buy Ning Fan's good impression and plant the seed for what she would ask for in the future. But from the bottom of her heart, Yunhua was extremely reluctant to spend such a cheap amount of money. She didn't expect that this action of throwing money could be exchanged for such a huge amount of profit. "Husband, your eyes are very sharp," Yunhua praised in her heart. Immediately, a complacent voice resounded in her heart. "Of course, your husband is the dignified Fire Cloud Old Ancestor." Strangely, no one knew that a trace of spirit sense of Fire Cloud Old Ancestor was hidden in Yunhua's body through some unknown means. No wonder he was at ease when his wife went out. It turned out that he was monitoring her all the time. The beggar didn't suffer any loss or profit. He came to Sinister Sparrow sect to look for Ning Fan, but he didn't even find a hair of Ning Fan. It seemed like this trip was a waste of effort. He wasn't in a good mood, so he ignored all the old experts who came to claim a relationship with him. He couldn't wait to leave Sinister Sparrow sect to avoid the annoyance of these bees and flies, but Ning Fan didn't appear for a long time and didn't exchange for the 50,000 immortal jades that he was supposed to get. After the battle on the sky platform, Ning Fan had become revered Ning and immediately went into seclusion. His state of mind was in chaos because of the Heart Devil. He had to suppress his Heart Devil again because it wasn't the right time to form his core. The Lost World Palace. Before I find this place, I can't form my core. Otherwise, time will be wasted. If Ning Fan didn't show up, the beggar wouldn't be able to leave. He was a dignified second heavenly layer void fragmentation old monster and the dignified son of a divine emperor. How could he take advantage of a junior with 50,000 immortal jades? Was he that short of money? Although he was a beggar, the stone chamber of the Dual Cultivation Palace was destroyed by him when he was in seclusion the last time. This time, he was in seclusion in the stone chamber of the Dan Palace. As for his cheap disciple, Xueqing, he was waiting respectfully outside the stone chamber. This scene shocked many old monsters. The arrogant Third Revolution pill master Xueqing actually greeted Ning Fan like a disciple. Xueqing would naturally not explain all of this to anyone. This was Ning Fan's instruction to not reveal his identity as a Fourth Revolution pill refinement master. At this moment, Xueqing's eyes were burning as he stared at the stone gate. Previously, he respected Ning Fan because of his pill concoction skills, but after the battle with Revered Bai, Ning Fan's combat strength had impressed him. Although Revered Bai wasn't as strong as an old ancestor and wasn't one of the top 10 experts in U-Country, he was still one of the top 20 experts in U-Country. However, an expert of this level was defeated by a young man like Ning Fan. Before the battle, no one expected Ning Fan to win. At the end of the battle, no one regretted the fact that they had placed the wrong bet. At the age of 17, Ning Fan stepped on the path of evil cultivation. At the age of 18, he had become one of the top experts in U-Country, revered Ning of Sinister Sparrow sect. The only thing that bothered Xueqing was that Ning Fan seemed to have found too many wives for him. With a smile on his face, he looked at the anxious women outside the stone chamber. Jiha was born with a bewitching bone. Bai Lu was the #1 devil girl of Sinister Sparrow sect. Lan Mei was the young master of Sinister Sparrow sect. Cece, this woman gave Xueqing a terrifying feeling. Facing her seemed to be more dangerous than facing Sinister Sparrow. These are all wives of master. I can't neglect them. With a smile on his face, he greeted the 4 women one by one. As for the innocent Jiha, her impression of this respectful old man immediately improved. As for Si Wuxie, she only nodded her head lightly as a response. Only in front of Ning Fan would she put away her coldness and turn back into an innocent girl. However, this innocence was diminishing as time went by. Lan Mei and Bai Lu were the ones who couldn't adapt to Xue Qing's smile the most. Lan Mei was still fine. As the young master, Xue Qing would usually smile and talk to her, but he had never been so respectful to her. Xue Qing had an air of arrogance that belonged to a pill refinement grandmaster. This air of arrogance allowed him to not show his inferiority in front of experts like Sinister Sparrow. But today, Xue Qing was very respectful. The way he looked at her was like a junior. This made Lan Mei slightly uncomfortable, but she could vaguely guess that the reason why Xue Qing was so respectful to her was related to Ning Fan. The one who couldn't adapt to it the most was Bai Lu. In the past, as the substitute elder of Dual Cultivation Palace, Xue Qing had never once looked at her when she came to Dan Palace to collect the pills required by the female disciples. In fact, Xue Qing had always despised Bai Lu. But today, Xue Qing was extremely respectful to Bai Lu. All of this was because he heard that Bai Lu had been subdued by Ning Fan. This is also Master's wife. I can't neglect her. Xue Qing's face was full of smiles, but his heart was smiling bitterly. This expression was too difficult for a cold and arrogant person like him. However, he discovered that when he put down his pride and resumed the mentality of a junior, his stagnant cultivation base began to loosen a little. Ning Fan didn't know what was happening outside the stone chamber. After obtaining the purple loathe ice frost, the mysterious woman fell into a deep slumber again. But Ning Fan could vaguely feel that the mysterious woman was undergoing some kind of change, whether it was good or bad. He didn't know. After suppressing the chaotic state of mind, he didn't come out of seclusion immediately. Instead, he stayed in the stone chamber to sort out the insights he gained from the battle. Breaking Illusion Bead, 4 marks Natal Immortal Cloud, 4th Grade Cold Chi, Myriad Soul Banner, Hornless Ice Sword, 7 Sword Art. By Fating's means weren't weak. Moreover, his rich experience in fighting also gave Ning Fan a hint of inspiration. There was a world of difference in combat strength between a cultivator who trained in blood and fire and a cultivator who cultivated peacefully. After breaking through to the Gold Core realm, he must go to the Lost World Palace to borrow the power of the Lost World to shorten the time needed to form his core. The mysterious woman did not mention the location of the Lost World Palace. However, it was currently in a deep slumber. Just like the Godly Void Pavilion, the Lost World Palace could be found all over the Rain World. Unfortunately, there was no Lost World Palace in Yu Country. The nearby Wu Country and Chu Country did not seem to have any Lost World Palace either. Even the nearest one had to cross more than a dozen cultivation countries. After arriving at Ing, he would board the Heaven Evasion boat and sail to the Boundless Sea. The Endless Sea was located in the easternmost region of the Rain Immortal world. It was a long way from the Endless Sea. Apart from cultivators, there were also foreign races. Demon race, ghost race, giant devil race. With Ning Fan's traveling speed, it would take him several years just to get to the Lost World Palace in the Endless Sea. It seemed like the losses outweighed the gains. To go or not to go, that was the question. Currently, he still had a lot of enemies in Yu Country. The 3 immortal armies had yet to form their true combat power. It was unknown whether he could protect Ning City and 7 Apricot City. Was it really a good idea for him to leave Yu Country at this time? There is an old saying in the cultivation world. Cultivating the Tao is not cultivating longevity, but to be free and unfettered. If one's heart is shackled, one will never be able to cultivate the Tao again. At this moment, Ning Fan finally experienced the troubles of having too many shackles. At the same time, he also experienced the happiness of having too many shackles. It seems like I haven't had a good time to bask in the sun for a long time. He recalled the old monster's reminder, sighed slightly and stood up. He thought of Ninggu who was far away from home and closed his eyes slightly. He thought of Extreme Een Gate, Bone Sovereign, Moksha Sovereign and the scenes of slaughter. In just a year of devil cultivation, his hands had been stained with too much blood and sins. Ning Fan needed to bask in the sun. This was the method to suppress the heart devil that the old monster taught him. Exit seclusion. He gently pushed the stone door open and saw the 4 girls and Xueqing. Their eagerness turned into a trace of determination in his eyes. I won't sever my emotions. Bai Lu frowned as soon as she saw Ning Fan. She let out a soft humph and turned away without saying a word to Ning Fan. However, her shoulders were obviously shaking, as if she wasn't as calm as she looked. Lan Mei was a little reserved, Cici was a little happy, and Jiha clung to Ning Fan's bosom. Brother Fan, we are rich. Her first sentence wasn't about missing him for a long time, but about being rich. How heartless was this little girl? Ning Fan let go of Jiha and patted her hair. His eyes were looking outside the stone chamber. The 2 of you have been waiting for a long time. The 2 people he was referring to were Lady Yunhua and the impatient beggar. 2 silhouettes immediately walked out from both sides of the valley. One of them walked like a lotus while the other one had an unpleasant expression. If you don't come out, I will smash your stone chamber. Here, this is the 50,000 immortal jades that you won. The beggar impatiently threw a storage pouch that contained 100,000 immortal jades to Ning Fan. I will definitely support the next time there is a bet. Ning Fan clasped his fists at the beggar. Only a fool would refuse to earn money. I don't want to see you ever again, right? Have you seen a piece of blue jade? The beggar suddenly asked mysteriously. Perhaps this was his original intention of waiting for Ning Fan. Blue jade? Ning Fan showed a strange expression. Is that so? Forget it, pretend I didn't ask. The beggar didn't say anything else. Ning Fan's expression showed that he really didn't know anything. His words were inexplicable, but there seemed to be a profound meaning behind it. Ning Fan's eyes moved. This beggar wasn't looking for jades, but someone. This beggar was a void fragmentation expert of Rain Palace. Everyone in the 800 cultivation countries knew that Rain Palace was looking for someone. However, no one knew who they were looking for. The person that Rain Palace is looking for is related to the blue jade. All the signs made Ning Fan come to this conclusion, but he immediately put it aside. What does Rain Palace looking for someone have to do with me? Forget it, goodbye. The beggar showed an impatient expression. He clasped his fists at Ning Fan and left an array of light. After the beggar left, Ning Fan's eyes fell on Lady Yunhua's delicate body, revealing an inexplicable smile. Is there something that Lady Yunhua is looking for me? How did revered Ning know? Why would you look for me for no reason? Do you need a place to talk alone? Sorry for troubling revered Ning to lead the way. The conversation between Ning Fan and Yunhua seemed to have a profound meaning. Lan Mei also vaguely guessed that the reason why Yunhua looked for Ning Fan wasn't as simple as having an affair. However, Jiha was a silly little girl. She naturally wouldn't think that much. When she saw Ning Fan flirting with another woman, she immediately stomped her feet in resentment. Silly girl, wait for me here. Ning Fan's eyes swept across the ladies and ordered Xueqing to open a high-grade concoction room for a discussion. The concoction room was shielded by a nascent realm grand formation that could block spirit sense. It was undoubtedly the best place for a secret discussion. However, even Sinister Sparrow didn't have enough face to open a concoction room for discussion. Xueqing wouldn't allow it. The concoction room was originally used for concoction. How could it be used for other purposes? However, Ning Fan was Xueqing's master, a 4th revolution pill master and revered Ning. His face was more important than the sect master in Xueqing's heart. Xueqing didn't dare to disobey Ning Fan's order. Only Ning Fan and Yunhua were left in the high-grade concoction room. At this moment, Ning Fan kept his smile and said with an indifferent tone, "Old ancestor Hui Yun, what a leisurely mood to hide in Madame's body. Do you really think that I can't sense it? Hee. You're worthy of being called Black Devil Ning. Your spirit sense is even stronger than mine. You're worthy of being a 4th revolution pill master." A fiery light burst out from Madame Yunhua's body and turned into an illusory fiery figure. This person was old ancestor Hui Yun, a half-step nascent soul expert, Jingzhua. His hair was as red as a halberd, His eyes were fiery red, and he was wearing a big red robe. Even his smile was filled with heat. As soon as he saw this person and heard his words, Ning Fan's eyes shrunk and said coldly, "I don't understand what you're talking about." Although he didn't say it out loud, his heart was filled with helplessness. It seemed like Black Devil Ning's identity was going to be exposed in the end. There were many people in the world who were good at divination. There were also many people who were good at it. It wasn't strange for them to find out his identity. But it was also possible that Jingzhuo was just testing him, and Ning Fan wouldn't be stupid enough to admit it. "Don't worry, little friend. This old man doesn't have any evil intentions, but there are people who want to kill you. Do you know that old Devil Purple Een of Extreme Een Gate has joined hands with the experts of Heavenly Dao sect in Wu country to kill you?" Ning Fan didn't say a word. He couldn't tell if old ancestor Jingzhuo was still testing him. Little friend has such a strong vigilance. Good, this shows that little friend is someone who is planning something big. Little friend, you don't have to hide it from me. I have a friend in Wu country who received a piece of news by chance. That's how I found out your true identity. Little friend, do you know that old Devil Purple Een has gone to Wu country and spent 10,000 immortal jades to find out your true identity from the divine divination old man? I swear on my heart's devil that this is absolutely true. Little friend, you don't have to pretend in front of me anymore. Old ancestor Jingzhuo said with a sincere expression. After listening to Jingzhuo's words, Ning Fan believed 70% of it and 30% of it. What he believed was that Jingzhuo really knew his identity. What he didn't believe was the method to find out his identity. A friend told him? Ridiculous. This Jingzhuo must be like old Devil Purple Een, spending a fortune to find out his identity from the divine divination old man. However, Jingzhuo was obviously different from Purple Een. After knowing Ning Fan's identity, he didn't dare to make a move against Ning Fan directly after thinking about it. After all, Fire Cloud sect was the first sect to obtain a nascent formation pill. There was no need for him to go to war with Ning Fan. As long as he maintained the current situation, it would be easy for Fire Cloud sect to obtain the first nascent formation pill. Jingzhuo was highly likely to be the first nascent soul cultivator in Yu country, because he would be the first to obtain the nascent formation pill. But Purple Een was different. His extreme Een Gate was scheduled to obtain the pill 10 years later, and there were many conflicts between Purple Een and Ning Fan. Purple Een couldn't wait. He only wanted to rob Ning Fan. Old ancestor Jingzhuo, good plan, not bad. I am Ning Fan and also Black Devil Ning. Are you satisfied with this? Tell me your purpose of coming here, otherwise, I might treat you as an enemy. Killing intent flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. Under the killing intent of an immortal emperor, even Jingzhuo couldn't remain calm. As for his wife, Yunhua, her face turned pale. He really was Black Devil Ning. Sure enough, he had an extremely terrifying trump card. Plus, this kid was very cunning. He could tell that Ning Fan had found the divine divination old man to calculate the heavenly secret. But what Ning Fan didn't know was that Jingzhuo was different from Purple Een. The first one was about Black Devil Ning's identity. The second divination was about the probability of Jingzhuo capturing Black Devil Ning by himself. And the answer that the divine divination old man gave was death. It was this second divination that completely dispelled Jingzhuo's hostility towards Ning Fan. He was afraid that he was the only one in the entire Yu country who knew about Ning Fan's terror. Purple Een had missed one divination, and this one divination had determined the destruction of Extreme Een Gate. I'm sorry, people in the cultivation world have no choice but to do what they want. However, I'm indeed a friend of Revered Ning now. I'm still waiting for Revered Ning's nascent formation pill to break through to the nascent soul realm. How would I dare to become Revered Ning's enemy? Jingzhuo laughed dryly. Seeing the killing intent on Ning Fan's face didn't diminish, he kept his smile and said solemnly, "Alright, I'll tell you my purpose of coming here. I want to form an alliance with Revered Ning to destroy Extreme Een Gate together." Alliance? Ning Fan's eyes relaxed and his killing intent was slightly surprised. This arrogant old ancestor Hui Yun wanted to form an alliance with him? Why did he want to attack Extreme Een Gate? I might have a grudge against Extreme Yin Gate, but what about him? As if he could see Ning Fan's doubt, Jingzhuo's eyes flashed with a trace of sadness and hatred. He pointed at Yunhua and said with a bitter smile, "To be honest with revered Ning, I have a grudge against Purple Yin for killing my wife. Look at Yunhua. She's a living person? I see. No wonder I felt something wrong with Lady Yunhua's qi." Ning Fan looked at Yunhua, who was standing prettily, and revealed a look of understanding. Chapter 111. Lady Yunhua was already dead, but she was still alive in a strange form. Her body was dead and her heart had stopped beating, but the magical power in her meridians was still circulating and flowing according to the corpse refinement technique, keeping her body from rotting. As for her soul, it was supposed to enter samsara after death, but it was sealed in the heavenly spirit. Sealing the heavenly spirit was a corpse refinement technique that could retain the spiritual wisdom of the corpse, but it was only passed down in ancient times. Ancient Chaos's memory didn't mention this secret technique, otherwise, Ning Fan could dig out Ning Honghong's corpse and make a corpse for her to resurrect. This woman could be Yunhua, but she could also be not. Rumor had it that old ancestor Jingzhuo was a narrow-minded man who didn't want his wife to show her face in front of others. In fact, he wasn't being narrow-minded, but he was afraid that Yunhua's identity as a corpse refinement would be exposed. Even when his Dao companion became a corpse refinement, Jingzhuo still stayed by her side. This red-haired old man was an infatuated man. Of course, the premise was that Jingzhuo didn't lie about this matter. Ning Fan didn't comment on whether Jingzhuo was telling the truth or not. "Little friend, you don't believe that I'm in love with a corpse? Forget it. It's not wrong for you to doubt this matter. Little friend, your name is Black Devil and you have the noble title of Revered Ning. Although your cultivation base is high and your skill in concocting pills is strong, your experience is still shallow. On the Purple Jade Sky platform, when you attracted the core formation Heavenly Tribulation, this old man could see the struggle in your heart. In the past, this old man had also struggled, but that was something that happened hundreds of years ago. Oh? Fellow Taoist Jingzhuo also struggled with the tribulation of severing love? Ning Fan was slightly startled and slightly interested in Jingzhuo's words. That's right. I knew Yunhua before I formed my core. At that time, Yunhua's cultivation talent was above mine, but she didn't break through to the gold core realm because she couldn't bear to forget me. I didn't break through to the gold core realm either. I couldn't bear to sever my love and forget everything until that incident happened. At that time, Purple Yin, who was only an elder of Extreme Yin sect, fancied my wife and attacked her when she went out to complete the sect's mission. Speaking of this, Jingzhuo closed his eyes painfully without any pretense. Yunhua is so silly. If she had followed Purple Yin, she wouldn't have died. Why didn't she follow? Why would she rather die? After Yunhua's death, my heart was like dead ashes and I broke the barrier of love. I retrieved Yunhua's corpse and refined it into a refined corpse. This matter has already happened for hundreds of years. I'm afraid that no one in Yu country remembers the harmonious spirit realm Yunhua. I'm afraid that even Purple Yin doesn't remember this. He doesn't know that every day, I can't wait to eat his flesh. But I'm no match for Purple Yin. Therefore, I need the nascent soul pill. I need to become stronger. Jingzhuo's gaze suddenly turned crazy. I want to form my nascent soul. I don't want to live forever. I don't want to be unstoppable. I just want to cut Purple Yin into pieces so that the pain in Yunhua's heart will be slightly reduced. If her identity as a refined corpse cannot be allowed to exist in the world, I would rather overturn the entire sky and correct her reflection. Do you understand this feeling? I'm a little excited and said too much. Fellow Taoist Ning, this old man only has one thing to say. If you help me with this matter, this old man is willing to gift the Fire Cloud sect to you as thanks. Ning Fan's expression changed. It wasn't because of Jingzhuo's generosity in gifting the Fire Cloud sect to him. What moved Ning Fan was Jingzhuo's craziness and obsession. He didn't want to live forever and he didn't want to be unstoppable. He just wanted to correct his reflection. This was a kind of obsession. It was an obsession that made Ning Fan waver. Initially, Ning Fan thought that his persistence in not severing his emotions was already considered as persistence. However, compared to Jing Zhuo, his persistence seemed insignificant. Ning Fan closed his eyes and fell into silence. Jing Zhuo didn't seem like he was lying. No, it should be said that such a person would never lie about the matters of his true love because it was a kind of blasphemy. Words could deceive others, but one's Tao heart could never be deceived. Jing Zhuo's Tao heart would never regret even if he were to die 100 times. Ning Fan could clearly feel his craziness and deep obsession towards Yunhua. If the extreme Yin sect really wants to attack Ning Cheng, it would be very difficult for him to face the joint attack of the extreme Yin sect and the heavenly Tao sect alone. Allying with the Fire Cloud sect was a wise move. With the Fire Cloud sect restraining the extreme Yin sect, the pressure on him would be greatly reduced. Moreover, after annihilating the extreme Yin sect, he could openly take over the entire Fire Cloud sect as a reward. Since he had no use for the Fire Cloud sect, he might as well change his reward and propose other conditions to Jing Zhuo. For example, Ning Fan was extremely interested in Jing Zhuo's special corpse refining technique. For example, the Fire Cloud sect had a large number of spiritual herbs and cultivation methods which Ning Fan might need. Of course, it would be extremely foolish for Ning Fan to not fully trust Jing Zhuo. He still maintained a trace of vigilance. This was the basic principle for cultivators to interact with each other. If the extreme Yin sect really wants to kill Ning Cheng, I will be very happy to ally with fellow Taoist Jing Zhuo. However, I wonder if fellow Taoist Jing Zhuo has a specific plan to deal with the extreme Yin sect? They do. Firstly, I need a nascent formation pill to break through to the nascent soul realm. However, I don't know if revered Ning has the confidence to concoct a nascent formation pill within a month. Nascent formation pill? Ning Fan was slightly stunned. That's right. The sect master of the Heavenly Tao sect seems to be in seclusion. He will only come out after 3 months. Therefore, the plan of the Purple Yin sect and Heavenly Tao sect to massacre Ning Cheng will most likely be carried out 3 months later. There are still 3 months left. If that's the case, I really need to make some preparations. Ning Fan didn't ask about the source of Jing Zhuo's information. It wasn't hard to guess that there was a spy planted by Jing Zhuo in the extreme Yin sect. Since he had the intention to kill Purple Yin sect, it wasn't strange for him to plant a spy for hundreds of years. I will concoct a nascent formation pill at most half a month. However, I don't think you can refine the pill and break through to the nascent soul realm within 2.5 months. That's right. I will need at least 100 years of seclusion to completely break through to the nascent soul realm. But what if I only need to raise my magical power to the nascent soul realm? So what if I temporarily suppress my cultivation realm and don't break through? I think it will be enough to increase my strength. If I can successfully annihilate the extreme Yin sect, I will go to the Endless Sea and break through to the nascent soul realm there. I see. Alright, leave the matter of the nascent formation pill to me. Oh, if fellow Taoist Jing Zhuo goes to the Endless Sea, you must bring me along. I also plan to go there, but unfortunately, I'm not familiar with the way there. You want to go too? Jing Zhuo was slightly surprised. The Lost World Palace. Our goal seems to be the same. Ning Fan said with a smile. This fellow Taoist Ning is quite well informed. That's right, there's indeed a Lost World Palace in the Endless Sea. It's the ideal place for me to form my nascent soul. If fellow Taoist is willing to travel with me, I won't have any objection. Jing Zhuo laughed and did not refuse. At this moment, he had something to ask of Ning Fan. Thus, he naturally would not displease Ning Fan at this moment. Ning Fan looked at Jing Zhuo with a hint of approval. This Jing Zhuo is really good at adapting to circumstances. Consuming a nascent formation pill would only allow one's magical power to reach the nascent soul realm while suppressing one's cultivation realm. This method was something that ordinary people would never be able to come up with. In fact, it was even more difficult to implement. But Jing Zhuo dared to think this way, so he must be completely confident. If Jing Zhuo's magic power reached the nascent soul realm, he would have a great chance of winning against old Devil Purple Yin even if he hadn't broken through to the next realm. If that's the case, I have to congratulate fellow Taoist for forming your nascent soul in advance. Ning Fan said with a smile. If this old man is fortunate enough to form my nascent soul, I will not forget fellow Taoist Ning's kindness. In order to eliminate Purple Yin, this old man still has some plans that I hope fellow Taoist Ning can adopt. I'd like to hear the details, but before that, I would like to ask for something from fellow Taoist Jingzhua. If fellow Taoist needs it, feel free to take it. Immortal Jade, the more the better. Also, I'm also interested in your wife's soul-sealing corpse refining technique. One more thing, if fellow Taoist can gather all the medicinal ingredients listed in this jade slip, I'll be more than happy to concoct 2 more pills for fellow Taoist. Ning Fan waved his hand and took out a jade slip. He imprinted 2 pill recipes on it with his spirit sense and passed it to Jingzhua. Jingzhua didn't show the slightest dissatisfaction after hearing that Ning Fan wanted the immortal jade and the corpse refining technique. The immortal jade was originally a gift to Ning Fan, and the corpse refining technique was something that he obtained by chance in the Endless Sea. Although it was precious, it wasn't something that couldn't be taught to outsiders. It was fine if Ning Fan asked for the items, but Jingzhua would doubt Ning Fan's sincerity if Ning Fan didn't ask for anything in return. As for the matter that Ning Fan said that he was willing to concoct 2 more pills for him, after receiving the jade slip, Jingzhua scanned through it with his spirit sense. All the medicinal ingredients required were precious and they were at least 2,000 years old. Jingzhua's face twitched. It wasn't easy to gather all these pills. He didn't know what kind of pill Ning Fan was going to concoct for him. If it was a pill that wasn't really useful to him, it would be a waste to spend so many rare medicinal ingredients. But when he read the pill recipes to the end, his face was suddenly filled with shock and then ecstasy. He looked at Ning Fan with inexplicable gratitude. These 2 pill recipes weren't useless at all. One of them was called Nascent Solidifying Pill. The effect of this pill was to increase the success rate of forming a nascent soul. Although its effect wasn't as good as the Nascent Formation Pill, its success rate could be stacked with the Nascent Formation Pill, increasing Jingzhua's chances of forming his nascent soul. But what really made Jingzhua ecstatic was not the Nascent Solidifying Pill, but the second pill, Corpse Life Pill. This pill was a 4th revolution pill. Its effect was very unorthodox. It could increase the lifespan of a refined corpse. In fact, it wasn't accurate to say that it increased the lifespan of a refined corpse. A refined corpse wasn't a living thing. Instead of increasing its lifespan, it would be more accurate to say that it increased the rate of wear and durability of the refined corpse, allowing the refined corpse to live for a longer time. Refined corpses were the same as magic treasures. They would eventually break down and the life force of a physical body would be exhausted one day. This corpse life pill was a pill that could increase the lifespan of a refined corpse. The Nascent Solidifying Pill was concocted for Jingzhua while the Corpse Life Pill was concocted for Yunhua. Yunhua had lived as a refined corpse for hundreds of years. His soul power was depleted and the life force of his physical body was exhausted. What Jingzhua suffered the most was that he couldn't resurrect Yunhua. Secondly, he couldn't extend the lifespan of Yunhua's refined corpse. To Jingzhua, this pill was even more precious than the Nascent Solidifying Pill. It was even more precious than his cultivation base and his life. The reason why he formed an alliance with Ning Fan was to take revenge on Purple Yin. However, if he knew that Ning Fan had the ability to extend Yunhua's lifespan earlier, he would be willing to give up everything and become Ning Fan's dog just for the sake of Yunhua's survival. If fellow Taoist Ning can save Yunhua, I, Jingzhua, am willing to give up everything and become fellow Taoist's slave. Jingzhua said with a serious expression. Fellow Taoist, you don't have to do this. If you can prepare all the medicinal ingredients, concocting this pill will just be a piece of cake for me. Rest assured, fellow Taoist. Even if I have to put my life on the line, I will definitely find these medicinal ingredients. There were obviously a few types of spiritual herbs in the jade slip. Their effects were neither to solidify one's nascent soul nor to extend one's lifespan. Even though Jingzhua didn't know the Tao of pill concoction, he could still tell that Ning Fan was most likely asking Jingzhua for the reward in the name of searching for the medicinal ingredients. Jingzhua wouldn't point it out and he wouldn't care about it. There was nothing more important than Yunhua. The other things were insignificant. If that's the case, let's talk about the matter of annihilating the extreme Yin sect, Ning Fan said with a smile. One day later, Ning Fan and Jing Zhui each made a great oath of Heart Devil. Chapter 112. Facing Ji He's questioning eyes and Lan Mei's doubtful eyes, Ning Fan didn't explain much. He only said, "Lady Yunhua and I are innocent. Only ghosts will believe you." Ji He's words echoed everyone's thoughts. Even Xue Qing didn't believe it. As Ning Fan's evil reputation grew, so did his evil reputation. Revered Ning was a dual spirit cultivator. Above all of these was the dual cultivation technique, the flower-plucking devil. That's right. The title of the #1 cultivator below the gold core realm was outdated. The title of the #1 cultivator below the nascent soul realm didn't belong to Ning Fan yet. Therefore, he had temporarily obtained the title of flower-plucking devil. His cultivation base had improved so fast that all the old experts' first thought was that it had something to do with Ning Fan becoming the elder of Dual Cultivation Palace. Plucking and dual cultivation. What a beast! More than 200 delicate female disciples were defiled by him alone. Of course, the old experts were just cursing in their hearts. No one would dare to offend Ning Fan in front of him. Everyone in Sinister Sparrow sect seemed to have tacitly agreed that the female disciples of Dual Cultivation Palace were revered Ning's flesh. Therefore, Bai Lu's wish was finally achieved in the way she didn't want to. Under the cover of Ning Fan's evil reputation, no evil cultivator dared to have any thoughts about the female disciples of Dual Cultivation Palace. There was no explanation. Ning Fan wouldn't explain to these rumors. Compared to being famous, he was more interested in profit. He was a commoner who couldn't survive in the bloody sea of cultivation because he was angling for fame. "Xue Qing, I want to leave Sinister Sparrow sect for 3 months to go back to Ning City. But before that, I want to go to the grave of Dark Sparrow. Can you bring me there?" Ning Fan's tone was indifferent. "Master, revered Ning wants to go back to Ning City. With your identity as one of the 4 venerables, you can leave the sect at any time without any restrictions. That's easy, but if you want to go to the grave of Dark Sparrow, you need the sect master's approval. That place is more dangerous than the demon Sinister Forest." Xue Qing's eyes glanced at the girls and heaved a sigh of relief. He almost called Ning Fan master, just now. Ning Fan didn't allow him to call Ning Fan master in public. "I see. Given Sinister Sparrow sect's strength, it's strange that they have so many forbidden places." Ning Fan pondered for a while. Whether it was the demon Sinister Forest or the unknown Dark Sparrow grave, the danger inside seemed to be beyond the void fragmentation realm. All of these seemed to be the work of the old ancestor of the Sinister Sparrow upper world, Kei Shensi. Kei Shensi must be an extraordinary figure in the 4 heavens immortal world. That was why he could set up such a forbidden place in Sinister Sparrow sect. Perhaps the Dark Sparrow tomb really had some secret. It wouldn't be difficult for him to seek Sinister Sparrow's approval given their relationship. Perhaps he could get a map of Dark Sparrow grave from Sinister Sparrow. A map was a good thing. If he didn't have the map, he would have died several times in the demon Sinister Forest. "All right, let's go seek an audience with the sect master." You want to see Father?" Lan Mei blushed as if she had thought of something else. Wasn't it time for Ning Fan to propose? "Even that place. If he doesn't marry me, I will bite him to death." Ning Fan didn't understand the thoughts of a girl. The Dark Sparrow grave was located 100,000 zhang below the ground of the Dark Sparrow Valley. There were 9 levels in total. The Yin energy inside was nourishing. It could at least double the speed of devil cultivation. The deeper one went, the faster the cultivation speed would be. However, because the Yin energy was too strong, even Sinister Sparrow could only enter the 3rd level and couldn't stay for more than 3 days. Under Lan Mei's request, not only did Ning Fan obtain the qualification to enter the Dark Sparrow grave, even the outsiders of Sinister Sparrow sect, Lan Mei and Cici, were allowed to enter the 1st level. Moreover, Ning Fan also obtained an ancient map that had been treasured by Sinister Sparrow for many years. This was naturally Lan Mei's contribution. However, after leaving Long Inclination Palace, Lan Mei was sulking and sulking all the way. Ning Fan didn't know what she was angry about. Under Sinister Sparrow's personal guidance, Ning Fan, Jihe, Cece, Lan Mei, and Xueqing arrived at the Earth Origin Palace of Sinister Sparrow Sect. The Earth Origin Palace had always been closed to disciples below the level of Elder. The guardian of the Earth Origin Palace was one of the 4 revered devils, revered Black Yen Bai. This palace didn't accept disciples and had no other purpose other than to set up an Earth escape teleportation formation using the Earth Origin Force to teleport experts to the Dark Sparrow Grave that was 100,000 zhang underground. This formation was also set up by old ancestor Kei Shensi. The teleportation formation was a void-grade grand formation that involved the power of void. Only void fragmentation formation masters could set it up. 100,000 zhang underground, even if a gold core cultivator was lucky enough to learn the earth escape technique of the 5 elements, they wouldn't be able to dive 10,000 zhang underground. The heavy pressure of 10,000 zhang underground could cause a gold core cultivator's body to explode and die in an instant. Yen Bai greets Sect Master. In the Earth Origin Palace, an old man in black clothes and a black sword cupped his fists at Sinister Sparrow. His late gold core cultivation base was concealed with his sword intent. Revered Yen is too polite. These people want to enter the Dark Sparrow Grave. You can open the teleportation formation and let them in. Sinister Sparrow smiled and pointed at the people behind him. Sect Master, how can we let outsiders and juniors enter? Yen Bai's eyes swept across Lan Mei, Jihe and Si Wuxia with slight dissatisfaction. Xueqing was an elder of the sect. Although Lan Mei was Sinister Sparrow's daughter, her status wasn't high enough to enter the Dark Sparrow Grave. As for Jihe and Si Wuxia, these 2 girls weren't members of Sinister Sparrow sect. How could they enter? But when Yen Bai's eyes fell on the last person, Ning Fan, his expression suddenly froze. Revered Ning, you are the one who decided to bring these women into the Dark Sparrow Grave. His tone was rather impolite. Ning Fan had defeated Revered Bai. The strength that Ning Fan had shown had moved Yen Bai. However, Yen Bai knew that he was stronger than Revered Bai. It wouldn't be too difficult for him to defeat Revered Bai. In a fight with Ning Fan, he would have a 50-50 chance of winning. Therefore, he didn't fear Ning Fan even though he attached importance to Ning Fan. Because of all the grudges between him and the old devil, Yen Bai didn't have a good impression of Ning Fan. Yes. Ning Fan's tone was flat. There was nothing to deny. All right, for the sake of Revered Ning, I can let them enter the Dark Sparrow Grave. However, I will only activate the protection of the teleportation formation for you and Xueqing. As for the pressure that these 3 girls will have to endure, you will have to find a way to resist it yourself. Having said that, Yen Bai closed his eyes and didn't say another word. Ning Fan's face darkened all of a sudden. The teleportation formation was a Void Realm Grand Formation. It borrowed the force of the void to teleport a cultivator to another location. During the process of teleportation, if the cultivator's body wasn't strong enough, he or she would be torn to pieces by the force of the void. Of course, during the teleportation, the cultivator would be protected by the formation to prevent the force of the void from devouring their body. Ning Fan knew that even with his silver light translucent body realm, he wouldn't be able to resist the force of the void. The silver bone body refining realm could rival nascent soul realm. Before the silver bone body refining realm, however, the body refining realm was divided into 9 realms of silver light. The first realm of silver light could allow one to move unhindered through 10 levels of vein opening. The second to 5th realm of silver light corresponded to early, intermediate, late and peak harmonious spirit. The 6th to the 9th realm corresponded to early, intermediate, late and peak gold core. Currently, Ning Fan's body refining realm was at the 6th realm of silver light and was about to break through to the 7th realm. However, his physical strength was only at the intermediate gold core realm. It was far from enough to resist the force of the void. Yen Bai was purposely making things difficult for him. He didn't even put Lan Mei and Sinister Sparrow in the Dark Sparrow Grave, so why would he give face to Ning Fan? If Yen Bai didn't intend to activate the protection formation, Only Ning Fan and Xue Qing would be able to enter the Dark Sparrow grave. At this moment, Xue Qing's face turned ugly. Sinister Sparrow immediately revealed a wry smile and said to Ning Fan, "Revered Ning, please don't blame Revered He. He's the one in charge of the Earth Origin Palace. Naturally, he has the final say. In my opinion, Mei Er and the other girls shouldn't enter." Ning Fan looked at the teleportation formation in front of him and pondered. This was a void grade grand formation. It was the same as the mountain and river reverse motion. It even borrowed the force of the void. Ning Fan couldn't set up this formation by himself. He didn't need immortal jades to control this formation. Instead, he used the dark force of the void and spirit sense to outline a mysterious formation diagram flickering with black light within a radius of 300 meters. He didn't even need immortal jades. Kei Shenxi's Tao of formation was far above Ning Fan's. He couldn't set up this formation. Otherwise, he could set it up himself and bring the girls to the underground. Inside the grand formation, there was a faint trace of void force. Every trace of it gave Ning Fan a sense of extreme danger. Without the protection of the formation, he would certainly die if he was torn apart by the void force. If that's the case, I can only put the girls into the cauldron ring and bring them in. Ning Fan frowned. He had some complaints about Yen Bai, but it wasn't to the extent of killing him over such a trivial matter. However, his frown loosened after witnessing a strange scene. The traces of void force in the teleportation formation resonated with the Eastern Ocean bell in his storage pouch. The bell rang softly in Ning Fan's heart. The traces of void force seemed to be fearful and retreated a little. No one knew about this except for Ning Fan. He pondered for a moment and took another step forward. Immediately, the void force retreated 3 feet away from the edge of the formation. This void force is afraid of the Eastern Ocean bell. His heart stirred, and he leaped into the teleportation formation. Without the protection of the formation, he directly resisted the power of the void. His action immediately shocked Gui Qiaozi and the others. Even Yen Bai opened his eyes abruptly. "Fan Air, retreat quickly. Don't let the void force tear your body apart." However, as soon as Gui Qiaozi's voice faded, he stopped talking and didn't say another word. He was surprised to find that the void force that was wreaking havoc within the range of the formation didn't dare to come close to Ning Fan at all. After confirming something, Ning Fan smiled faintly and looked at Yen Bai. "It seems like even the void force is disgusted by my notoriety and isn't willing to travel with me. It seems like there's no need for the protection of the formation. All right, all of you can come in now. With me here, the void force won't be able to tear anyone apart." Although there wasn't a trace of sarcasm in Ning Fan's words, Yen Bai found it hard to remain calm. "Impossible, this is the void force. Even an ordinary void refinement realm old monster wouldn't be able to resist it with their body. Could it be that the heavens will want Ning Fan to bring people into the Dark Sparrow's grave?" Other than the heavens will, Yen Bai couldn't think of any other reason that could allow a harmonious spirit expert like Ning Fan to ignore the terrifying void force. This kid can't be provoked. It's not a matter of winning or losing. Yen Bai's eyes revealed a struggling expression. After a long time, he squeezed out an ugly smile. This was the first time in his life that he smiled at someone. Cough, cough, cough. "Revered Ning, I've offended you before. I'll activate the defensive formation for everyone. As for the pills in this storage pouch, all of them are needed by the Dark Sparrow's grave. Just take them as my apology. I hope Revered Ning won't take offense." Yen Bai's temper was like a stone in the latrine pit. He actually apologized to someone. Sinister Sparrow revealed a strange look. In Yu country, there had never been anyone who could make Yen Bai bow his head. Sinister Sparrow didn't know that Yen Bai wasn't bowing his head to Ning Fan, but the heavens will. No matter how stubborn and cold he was, he deeply believed that man couldn't go against the heavens' will. "Revered He, Yen Bai, in this case, we'll let bygones be bygones, but I hope there won't be a next time." Ning Fan's spirit sense swept through the storage pouch and found that it was filled with second revolution pills and above. There were even a few bottles of third revolution pills, which were body-protecting pills that could resist the devouring of the evil Yin force. These pills were worth tens of thousands of immortal jades. His sincerity as an apology was sufficient. As for Ning Fan, he could see that Sinister Sparrow didn't want him to shed all pretenses of cordiality with Revered Hay. Since Revered Hay was sensible, he would let bygones be bygones. Let's go to the Dark Sparrow's grave. Chapter 113. Dark Sparrow's Grave, the Underground World. Darkness entered his eyes. His surroundings were filled with boundless wilderness. The sky was gloomy and the air was oppressive. Every 1,000 feet, there was an ancient black pagoda engraved with mysterious Tao runes, emitting a faint fiery glow that illuminated the underground world. Ning Fan immediately felt a wave of cold air rushing towards his face as soon as he walked out of the teleportation formation. It wasn't his body that was cold, but his heart. Strangely, the flow of magical power in his yin-yang evil veins doubled under the influence of the cold air. This meant that the efficiency of cultivating evil arts here was at least doubled compared to the outside world. This cold air is somewhat mysterious. Ning Fan shivered slightly, but when he scanned it with his spirit sense, the coldness in his heart vanished. However, the others weren't as relaxed as him. Xue Qing was an early gold core expert, but he was still shivering under the cold air. As for little Jiha and Lan Mei, they were only at the harmonious spirit realm, so their hair was covered with frost. "Brother Fan, I'm so cold," Jiha whispered. She might be able to endure the cold, but she liked to act coquettishly in front of Ning Fan. "Silly girl." According to the sect master, the cold air in the second level will be twice as cold as the first level, and the third level will be twice as cold. You guys don't need to go down anymore. Stay here and cultivate. Dan Fragmentation Cauldron and this fire will keep you guys warm. Take these pills. Xue Qing and I will go to the third level to have a look. Ning Fan patted Jiha's head with pity and patted his storage pouch to take out the Dan Fragmentation Cauldron. He pondered for a moment and took out a few decent fire seeds from his storage pouch and threw them into the cauldron. After that, he left all the pills given by Yen Bai to Jiha and the other girls. Each of these fire seeds was above the second grade. There was even a third-grade spiritual fire that was given by old ancestor Jingzhua. To Ning Fan, these spiritual fires weren't essential, but they were good for keeping the girls warm. He didn't take out the black demon flame. Firstly, it was too violent. If Ning Fan wasn't here, the earth vein demonic flame would lose its suppression, which might lead to unforeseen events. Secondly, Ning Fan decided to devour the black demon flame here. It wouldn't be difficult for him to reach the half-step gold core realm after devouring the black demon flame and integrating it with the black demon art. And the power of fire elemental spells would be even more terrifying. This place was extremely cold and gloomy, which was one of the 3 conditions for devouring the black demon flame. He had also fulfilled the requirements for his cultivation technique, and he had also prepared sufficient heart protection pills. There were 2 reasons for Ning Fan to descend to the third level of Dark Sparrow's grave. Firstly, he wanted to see the pill devil that Xue Qing mentioned. Secondly, he wanted to devour the black demon flame. Ning Fan and Xue Qing's silhouettes stepped on the mud and walked further and further away in the drizzle. The spirit fire in the Dan Fragmentation Cauldron was reflected in Ji He and Lan Mei's eyes, turning into a trace of warmth. Si Wuxie, on the other hand, stared at the Dan Fragmentation Cauldron and felt that it was somewhat familiar. "I've seen this cauldron before. Where?" There were no ghosts in the first level of Dark Sparrow's grave, and the coldness couldn't cause any harm to Ning Fan. As Ning Fan walked in the curtain of rain, he gradually realized that there was a trace of meaning in the surrounding scenery. It was very, very faint. Void God intent. Sensing this trace of Void God intent, Ning Fan couldn't help but withdraw his magical force, letting the rain wet his robe. "Master, there will be rain falling from the 1st to the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave. It's extremely cold and penetrating. It's best to protect yourself with magical force," Xue Qing said respectfully. "It doesn't matter. Although the rain is cold, it has great benefits." Ning Fan closed his eyes and walked in the rain. His original eagerness to reach the third level was gradually diluted by the rain. The rain seemed to be able to evoke the memories from the bottom of one's heart and arouse one's melancholy. This was the divine ability of a cultivator above the spirit's severing realm. Scenes of the past emerged in front of Ningfan's eyes. His state of mind was improving at an undetectable speed in the rain. This rain could nourish one's heart. His face remained unchanged, but a trace of shock gradually rose in his heart. The old ancestor of sinister sparrow sect from the upper world had such a high cultivation base. No one knew how many tens of thousands of years had passed, but the divine intent of rain still hadn't dissipated. It could even nourish one's heart. At the moment when Ningfan's heart was as tranquil as still water, the dense sound of the rain seemed to condense into an old voice, ringing in Ningfan's ears. The rain is born in the sky and dies on the earth. The process of flowing in between is the life of the rain. This sentence contained a sigh that was hidden in the void spirit intent of the rain. When Ningfan's heart was as tranquil as still water, he heard this sigh. Well said. He halted his steps, raised his head and looked at the rain. Looking at the trajectory of the raindrops, he fell into deep thought. A moment later, he revealed an inexplicable smile and strode through the curtain of rain. Shui-Qing, let's go to the second level to watch the rain. The first level of Dark Sparrow's grave had no end, but somewhere in the middle of it, there was a 3,000 zhang deep pit. It was the entrance to the second level. Both of them jumped into the pit one after another. A sense of weightlessness suddenly emerged in their hearts. The pit seemed to be affected by some mysterious force that forbade them from flying. Both of them fell down like meteors. Below them was a 3,000 zhang wide rain pond. This rain pond was quite mysterious. The force of their fall was incomparably strong, but when it was blocked by the rain chi of the pond, it vanished without a trace. Ningfan and Shui-Qing took a few steps in the void, flew out of the rain pond, and stood on the shore. It was still raining all around. In the darkness, one could vaguely see blood-red beastly eyes. There are some harmonious spirit demons in the second level of Dark Sparrow's grave. This place is no longer suitable for cultivation. Master, let's go to the third level at once. Don't get entangled with these demons. Shui-Qing looked at the distant eyes in the dark with deep fear. There were hundreds of them, and each of them was a harmonious spirit expert. Even Shui-Qing couldn't protect himself when hundreds of harmonious spirit demons attacked at the same time. The only thing he could do was to flee. But when he looked carefully, he could see a trace of fear and dread in those beastly eyes. Don't be afraid. They won't dare to come close. This rain pond is interesting. Does the rain of Dark Sparrow's grave originate from this pond? This place has a very strong void spirit intent. Ningfan's eyes were fixed on the rain pond. Not only was the rain chi rising from the 3,000 zhang wide rain pond, but there were also clouds rising from it. Immortal clouds with high spiritual chi once again condensed into illusory forms. His eyes swept across the immortal clouds. These immortal clouds were naturally formed. Each of them was engraved with 2 cloud marks. Each of them had the quality to refine the natal immortal cloud. Unfortunately, each of them was illusory and dissipated after condensing for a moment. All of a sudden, his eyes turned solemn. Among all the illusory immortal clouds, there was only one that didn't disperse. This cloud seemed to have been nurtured by the rain chi of the rain pond for countless years. Ningfan didn't know why it didn't disperse. The reason why the other immortal clouds dispersed as soon as they were formed was because this cloud had seized the cloud chi to nurture the cloud marks. 4 marks immortal cloud, and the quality of this cloud is even higher than by Fading's cloud. If I can get this cloud. Ningfan's heart was slightly moved. The cultivation of escaping technique wasn't something that could be improved in a day or two, but as for the immortal cloud, if he could get the 4 marks immortal cloud and refine it as his natal immortal cloud, it would be rare for anyone below the nascent soul realm to catch up with his speed. He took a step forward and reascended the rain pond to retrieve the cloud in the distance. But as soon as he took a step forward, he suddenly recalled something and retracted his step. No, the cloud wouldn't seize the cloud chi by itself. There must be something helping this cloud to seize the cloud chi of the other immortal clouds. There must be something hiding above the rain pond. Ningfan's spirit sense quietly dived into the rain pond. Immediately, a trace of cold force froze his spirit sense. With a glimpse, Ning Fan seemed to have seen the shadow of a giant beast in the rain pond. His eyes revealed a trace of shock. His spirit sense had already condensed into sword sense, but it was still frozen. What kind of ferocious beast was hiding under the rain pond? How could it have such cold force? And that demonic beast, could it be a nascent soul demonic beast? This cloud couldn't be seized. Although the treasure was precious, one must be alive to enjoy it. He retracted his fiery gaze and said to Xueqing, "Let's go to the third level. We can't go any more." Xueqing replied with a bitter smile. The eyes of the demonic beasts that were hiding in the dark glowed with red light as they walked out. There were hundreds of them, all of them were harmonious spirit realm. Each of them had a strange appearance and dense demonic chi. They had white skin, for legs, blood-red eyes, a single horn and a long tail that looked like an icy whip with an inverted hook. Rain beast? Ning Fan was slightly surprised. This kind of demonic beast only appeared in ancient times. He didn't expect to see some of them in this place. However, no matter how many rain beasts there were, Ning Fan wasn't afraid of them. His sword sense and sword sense were best at dealing with enemies in groups. As long as there weren't any intermediate gold core demonic beasts among the rain beasts, it would be futile no matter how many of them there were. All of a sudden, Ning Fan's eyes glinted with cold light. When he was about to cast out his sword sense, there was a sudden change. Within the rain pond, an indistinct divine will was faintly discernible. When all of the rain beasts sensed this divine will, the redness in their eyes disappeared. They let out a few obedient howls, as if they were trying to please someone, and then dispersed. The spirit sense had reached the intermediate nascent soul realm. Xueqing couldn't sense it, but Ning Fan could. His eyes turned solemn as he looked at the rain pond. He was even more convinced that there was something powerful hidden in the pond. He was curious, but Ning Fan wasn't stupid enough to check it out. Curiosity was the worst thing in the cultivation world. They left. "Master, what did you do?" Xueqing was puzzled. Just now, the rain beasts were about to attack, but when Ning Fan's eyes turned cold, they all fled. Naturally, Xueqing gave Ning Fan the credit of scaring away the rain beasts, which made him even more respectful to Ning Fan. "Nothing, let's go to the third level. This place isn't safe to stay for long." Ning Fan's eyes were undetectable. With a hint of fear, he glanced at the rain pond. Under the gloomy rain, the two of them hurried to the third level of Dark Sparrow's grave. After Ning Fan left, the discontented voice of a little girl was heard from the rain pond. "Didn't that old man run away the last time? Why did he come again this time? And that human, what kind of magical technique did he want to cast just now? Why do I feel that he wanted to kill all the rain beasts in an instant? Pumph. Just now, he was looking at my sister Yun with a lustful and malicious gaze. They have gone to the third level. Should I go and scare them? Hee hee." Chapter 114. It was raining in the second level of Dark Sparrow's grave. For some unknown reason, the rain beasts in the dark didn't attack Ning Fan and Xueqing anymore. Xueqing couldn't understand all of this, but he attributed all the credit to Ning Fan. Master isn't only a fourth revolution pill master, but he can also defeat revered Bai and the rain beast. Although he's still young, he's more than qualified to be my master. Xueqing's mentality was vaguely changing. Previously, the reason why he acknowledged Ning Fan as his master was to cheat some concoction techniques from him. But now, he was sincerely willing to learn from Ning Fan and cultivate diligently from the beginning. Not only would he cultivate his concoction techniques, but he would also cultivate his magical power realm and his mental state. Ning Fan's eyes were moved when he looked at the rain pond. Xueqing guessed that there must be a treasure in the pond that attracted Ning Fan's attention. To Ning Fan, who had a supreme grade magical treasure, even the myriad soul banner didn't catch his eye. Therefore, anything that caught his eye must be something good. However, he still left the rain pond. This undoubtedly indicated that there was something that Ning Fan dreaded in the pond. Being able to leave with a straight face in front of a precious treasure was something that Xueqing couldn't achieve. Under the protection of a dozen black towers, there was a staircase of floating clouds that extended downwards, leading to the dark underground. Ning Fan stopped in front of the huge pit and closed his eyes, feeling the rain in front of him. This time, Xue Qing imitated Ning Fan. He closed his eyes and felt the rain. He suddenly realized that the rain had a special intent that could nourish one's heart and enhance one's mental state. It was a pity that Xue Qing couldn't see what that intent was no matter how hard he tried. But compared to the other elders of Sinister Sparrow sect who entered the grave, Xue Qing was the luckiest. Apart from Ning Fan, he was afraid that he was the first one to realize that the rain could enhance one's mental state. Nothing in the surroundings entered Ning Fan's mind. His mind was immersed in the drizzle, trying to hear the insights left by Kei Shensi in the second level of the grave. Gradually, the sound of the rain became quiet. There was no longer any sound of rain in the world. At this time, a scene seemed to emerge in Ning Fan's mind through the sparse rain. A black-robed old man whose face couldn't be seen was holding a paper umbrella and walking in the rain. The sky is divided into 4 oceans, and the earth is divided into 9 realms. In the middle is the rain realm, where it rains incessantly. The rain was born in the sky and died in the earth. The reason why the rain died was not because of the death of the body, but the death of the heart. His body would turn into clouds and return to the sky. However, when his heart fell into the mortal world, it shattered. When the shattered raindrops gathered again, would it still be him? A rain consisted of billions of raindrops. Although they looked the same, each of them had its own unique charm. Although their bodies were the same, their Tao was ultimately different. From now on, this place will be the Sinister Sparrow sect. The scene ended abruptly. Ning Fan slowly opened his eyes. There was a trace of confusion and blankness in his eyes. Even though the words of the old man on the first floor were profound, it was still difficult to move Ning Fan's heart. In the second layer, the old man comprehended once more. He seemed to sigh as he merged the sorrow of his life into the rain. Why did Kei Shensi appear in the rain immortal world? Was it the same as when he sighed at the rain? The rain was knocked down from the sky and he was knocked down to the mortal world? Therefore, Kei Shensi developed a unique insight in the rain. He was afraid that Kei Shensi's footprints could be found in every level of Dark Sparrow's grave. Kei Shensi had once comprehended the divine intent of rain in this place. It was highly possible that it was this insight that revived Kei Shensi's ambition and allowed him to return to the 4 heavens immortal world. Given Ning Fan's intelligence, he could easily deduce so many secrets. It was almost the same as the truth. His eyes revealed a pensive look as he looked at the rain in the sky. He began to understand why the billions of raindrops in the world were different from each other. There was only one type of divine intent of rain, but it could be divided into countless types, because the birth of a divine intent not only required the Tao of heaven and earth, but also one's own Tao to merge into the divine intent. Although the rain was the same, cultivators had different experiences and insights. Therefore, the divine intent of rain that they condensed was also different. The first level of insight didn't move Ning Fan because it didn't incorporate Kei Shensi's experience. The second level of insight touched Ning Fan slightly because the resentment in Kei Shensi's heart was stirred. How could Ning Fan's heart not be moved by this? The most precious thing in Dark Sparrow's grave wasn't the pill devil, the profound yin qi, or the coldness that could increase one's cultivation speed. It might not even be the immortal bone of Dark Sparrow in the 9th level. To Ning Fan, the most precious thing was the remnant image of Tao enlightenment in the rain. The 3rd level, what has Kei Shensi actually comprehended? Ning Fan's eyes glinted. With a step, he stepped into the huge pit and the immortal cloud that led to the 3rd level. He could vaguely feel that he would gain an unimaginable harvest in this trip. If I walk the path of Senior Kei Shensi, would I be able to comprehend the divine intent of rain? If I succeed. His eyes were blazing. In the 3rd level, Ning Fan leaped down from the cloud ladders while Xue Qing hurriedly followed him with eyes full of caution and fear. The rain stopped in the 3rd level. The surroundings were just like what Xue Qing had described in the ghost story. It was dark and gloomy. White bones that had been scattered for countless years could be seen everywhere. These white bones weren't human bones, but beast bones. Moreover, The quality of the bones was extraordinary. These beast bones must have belonged to gold core demonic beasts when they were alive. This place was twice as cold as the second level. The cold air made Ning Fan feel slightly uncomfortable, but the speed of his magical power circulating was faster. There were no more blood-red beast eyes in the surroundings, but there were traces of extremely powerful demonic qi hidden in the dark. Xue Qing couldn't sense it, but Ning Fan's spirit sense was strong enough to sense it. 1, 2, 7. There are a total of 7 gold core demonic beasts peeping at us within 30,000 meters. However, all of them are early gold core demonic beasts. There's only one intermediate gold core demonic beast, so there's nothing to worry about. Ning Fan retracted his spirit sense and said in an indifferent tone. But when these words fell into Xue Qing's ears, it turned into a trace of fear. There are 7 gold core demonic beasts within 30,000 meters. This place is so dangerous. Master, let's go to the second level. Fear arose in his heart, but it wasn't wrong to be afraid. Given Xue Qing's current strength, he wouldn't be able to fight 7 demonic beasts. He would die for sure. If he didn't retreat, he would be a reckless man. Otherwise, he would be a fool. However, it was impossible for Ning Fan to be afraid. Given his current strength, what could 7 ordinary gold core demonic beasts do to him? If he was afraid, then his cultivation would be wasted on the body of a dog. No need. They won't dare to come. Eastern Ocean Bell, quick. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out the ancient pure golden small bell for the first time. The small bell in his palm began to spin with magic power, turning into a gigantic bell that was 100 zhang in size, standing tall in front of him. Under the influence of Ning Fan's magic power, an extremely terrifying bell chime was heard. Supreme rank magical treasure. Xue Qing's eyes sparkled. Although he wasn't interested in treasure refinement, he couldn't remain calm in the face of a supreme rank magical treasure. Although he knew that Ning Fan had a supreme rank magical treasure, he didn't use it even in the battle against revered Bai. Everyone thought that Ning Fan's magical power wasn't enough to activate a supreme rank magical treasure. In Xue Qing's point of view, although Ning Fan had only exerted 1% of the Eastern Ocean Bell's power, Ning Fan had indeed activated this magical treasure with his peak harmonious spirit magical power. The bell chime was like a devil's voice that shook people's hearts. Under Ning Fan's control, it rang in the hearts of the 7 gold core demonic beasts. The 6 early gold core demonic beasts fainted from the bell chime. As for the intermediate gold core demonic beast, it was dizzy and frightened. How would it dare to peep at Ning Fan? There might be a demon lord in this place. Don't kill indiscriminately, but don't let it bully you. Ning Fan's tone was solemn as he patted the 300 meters giant bell. The bell turned back into a small golden bell and returned to his palm. Ning Fan was satisfied with the power of the Eastern Ocean Bell. With 1% of its power, Ning Fan was able to defeat early gold core demonic beasts and intimidate intermediate gold core demonic beasts. This was the result of Ning Fan controlling the power of the magical treasure. If he wanted to, he could kill the 6 early gold core demonic beasts and severely injure the intermediate gold core demonic beast. This was the power of a supreme rank magical treasure. If the power of this treasure was fully activated, Ning Fan would be able to exert the power of a nascent soul expert. Master and revered Bai seem to be having a hard battle, but it turns out that Master still has such a powerful trump card. If Master uses all his trump cards, could he easily kill revered Bai? Xue Qing was slightly shocked. The wails of the 6 demonic beasts fell into his ears. Each of them had a magical power that was a notch stronger than his. A single attack was able to stun 6 gold core demonic beasts. Was this Ning Fan's hidden terrifying strength? According to Ning Fan, there seemed to be a demon lord in this place. Xue Qing shivered and thought to himself, could that demon lord be the pill devil? Ning Fan didn't kill the demonic beasts because he had some concerns. The rain pond demonic beast that he encountered in the 2nd level of Dark Sparrow's grave gave him a strong sense of crisis. Moreover, those rain beasts seemed to obey the command of that demon. It was highly possible that they were its subordinates. As for that demon, its cultivation base was obviously higher than Ning Fan's, but it didn't kill them. Instead, it dispersed the demonic beasts and cleared the path for Ning Fan. Although it couldn't be considered as kindness, it could be considered as good intention. Therefore, Ning Fan didn't recklessly kill the demonic beasts in this place. It was a form of fear, but it was also a form of reciprocation. He kept the Eastern Ocean bell and ignored Xue Qing's astonishment. Instead, he raised his head and looked at the gloomy and wet sky. Why isn't there any rain in this place? Why? His eyes revealed an extremely perplexed look. According to his deduction, Kei Shensi should have advanced further in the 3rd level that year. Without rain, how could there be enlightenment? Or perhaps, it was precisely because there was no rain that there would be enlightenment. Traces of wetness made Ning Fan's heart turn cold. Instantly, Ning Fan revealed a half-guessing look and closed his eyes. Xue Qing, don't disturb me. He left an order and shut his 6 senses. The only thing he didn't shut was his spirit sense. This was the instinct of a cultivator to protect himself. In the darkness, Ning Fan began to comprehend the Tao while Xue Qing's scalp was getting numb. The surrounding cold air and the desolate white bones all touched his nerves, reminding him of the blood-covered face of the woman. Pill Devil? Pill Devil won't appear, right? He smiled bitterly. He was an early gold core cultivator. How could he show such a fearful look? He must have lived his life in a dog's stomach. Hee, what's there to be afraid of, Pill Devil? Don't be afraid. I'll also close my eyes and comprehend like master, but how can I comprehend without rain? He closed his eyes with a hollow laugh, as if this dry laugh could boost his courage. But at the next moment, Xue Qing clearly felt a soft but cold little hand on his shoulder. I hate it so much. The miserable voice of a woman resounded behind him. In an instant, Xue Qing's hair stood on end. Not good, it's a Pill Devil. What kind of cultivation base does she have to be able to get so close to me without any qi? Xue Qing gritted his teeth and looked back. Behind him, he saw a woman with a pale face full of blood. She revealed a strange smile and white teeth, looking at him and licking her long tongue, as if she was looking at a delicacy. Master? Xue Qing wanted to warn Ning Fan. Don't make a fuss, just play with her. Don't disturb me. Ning Fan sensed the female ghost, with his spirit sense, then retracted his spirit sense. What? Let me play with her, play with her. She will eat me. Xue Qing showed a helpless look. Chapter 115. This female ghost wasn't a ferocious creature. Her true form was that of a little girl. It was just a magical technique that concealed her appearance. Last time, she didn't hurt Xue Qing, and this time, she had no intention of hurting him. As for Ning Fan, he didn't care about Xue Qing and the female ghost. Xue Qing's state of mind needed to be tempered. At least, he needed to be able to remain calm in the face of danger. He would let this female ghost temper his state of mind. Although he was indifferent to the female ghost, he was thinking about the divine intent of rain around him. There was no rain, but there was a trace of dampness in the air, which was obviously formed by the divine intent of rain. There was no rain, but there was a hint of rain in the air. What did Kei Shensi comprehend in the past? My mood isn't the same as Kei Shensi's, so I can't integrate my heart into this rainless realm. His heart gradually calmed down, but it wasn't enough. He began to feel the vicissitudes and sorrow of Kei Shensi, and replaced himself with Kei Shensi, entering his story. After suffering setbacks, being knocked down from the 4 heavens immortal world and falling into the mortal world, he wandered aimlessly between the heaven and earth. Coincidentally, he saw the remains of Dark Sparrow in a secluded valley. He used the earth tunneling technique to dig 100,000 zhang underground and found the grave of Dark Sparrow. However, what really made him feel sentimental wasn't the immortal bone of Dark Sparrow, but the rain. When he reached the 1st level, Kei Shensi's heart was lonely. Ning Fan came alone, which coincidentally matched Kei Shensi's mood. That was why he could hear Kei Shensi's sigh in the rain. In the 2nd level, Kei Shensi evoked the sorrow in his heart, and Ning Fan also heard the enlightenment. In the 3rd level, there was no rain, but the divine intent didn't diminish, because the mountain rain was coming and the wind filled the building. Ning Fan's spiritual sense was activated. He could clearly hear a trace of violent whistling in the wind. His sixth senses were opened to the limit. In this moment, he finally felt a terrifying aura that came before a rainless world. It rushed towards him, the aura of a thunderstorm. No rain. It's not really no rain. This is the prospect of a rainstorm. Within this, there is the enlightenment of the rain momentum. Momentum, an unsheathed sword has no momentum, while a sheathed sword is hidden, so it has momentum. A formation needs to borrow the power of heaven and earth in order to become a formation. But where does the power of heaven and earth come from? Ning Fan opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with bewilderment as he stared at the dark and silent mountain ranges in the distance. If the rain doesn't come, there will be momentum. If the mountain doesn't move, there will be momentum. If the dragon is hidden in the abyss, there will be momentum. If the green insect spins a cocoon, there will be momentum. If the human king doesn't kill, there will be momentum. If the heaven and earth don't fight, there will be momentum. At this moment, Ning Fan was not looking at the rain. Instead, he was looking at the fact that there was no rain. His eyes moved, he opened his mouth and spat out the Starlight Sword Shadow, Separation Slayer in his hand, and held it horizontally in front of his chest. He closed his eyes, brewing the momentum of his sword. The sword didn't slash, but the more it didn't slash, the stronger the momentum of the sword became. A vast aura rose from his body and a boundless sword intent made it so that no one and nothing could come within 3 feet of him. The wind dispersed on its own and the rain avoided it. Both of them were repelled by Ning Fan's unmoving sword chi. This was a sword move created by Ning Fan. He didn't slash the enemy or draw the sword, but by relying on the momentum of the sword in front of his chest, the sword intent was enough to block all attacks below the gold core realm. If Ning Fan had a deeper understanding of momentum, this sword intent would certainly be stronger. So much so that one day, he could walk across the Devil Abyss and Blood Sea with the sword in his hand. By relying on the condensed sword chi, he would be able to repel all attacks from the dark. This is my first self-created sword chi. It's not a technique to slash the enemy, but a technique to protect myself. I'll name it Rainless Sword. Rainless, rainless. The mystery lies in the 4 words, the mountain rain is coming. Ning Fan kept the Separation Slayer. Xue Qing and the female ghost were still staring at each other, as if they didn't notice the change in Ning Fan. After dispersing the sword intent in his heart, Ning Fan closed his eyes again and smiled. There's no rain in the 3rd level of Dark Sparrow's grave, but there's the momentum of the rain. I think that Kei Shensi must have a profound understanding of this place. After understanding the momentum of the rain, his heart began to match the rain intent of this place. Gradually, a scene emerged in his mind. The black-robed old man kept his paper umbrella and stood on a mountain peak with his hands clasped behind his back. His body and mind were in harmony with the mountain and the momentum of the rain. There's no rain here, but the momentum of the rain is getting heavier. There's no me in the 4 heavens, but if I return, there will be a sea of blood above the 4 heavens. I want the rain to be born on the earth and fight against the heaven to achieve immortality. Ning Fan slowly opened his eyes, revealing a hint of understanding. Sure enough, the 3rd level of Dark Sparrow's grave had the momentum of no rain. Here, Kei Shensi's state of mind had a breakthrough and began to comprehend the divine intent of rain. From the 4th level onwards, there should be steps of Kei Shensi's Dao comprehension. However, the 4th level wasn't a place that he could go now. He patted his storage pouch and took out an ancient map that was given by Sinister Sparrow. The 4th level was densely covered with countless blood-red dots. Each dot was the lair of a nascent soul demon. If I go to the 4th level, I'll die for sure. If I don't go, I'll waste a great opportunity to comprehend the divine intent. Ning Fan sighed slightly. Sure enough, his fate wasn't good enough. He had discovered Kei Shensi's Dao comprehension journey, but he couldn't see the end. He stopped sighing and calmed his mind. This was the way of cultivation. Fate could only be encountered by chance. If one insisted on it, they would be doomed eternally. His eyes fell on Xueqing and the female ghost, revealing a strange look. At this moment, Xueqing had taken out his pill cauldron, as if he was concocting some pills for the female ghost. As for the female ghost, her stomach growled from time to time as if she was hungry. "Grandaunt, we have a deal. I'll concoct pills for you, but you won't eat me." Xueqing begged with a bitter smile. All right, I'll do what I say. Quick, bake a few pill biscuits for me to eat." The female ghost wiped the blood stain on her lips with her little hand. It wasn't blood, but saliva. With Xueqing's third revolution pill concoction technique, it only took the time for half an incense stick to burn to concoct a first revolution pill. He patted the lid of the cauldron, putting 100 first revolution pills into a pill bottle and handed it to the female ghost with an apologetic smile. "These are all first revolution pills, origin-enhancing pills. They have the effect of increasing the vitality of a vein-opening cultivator. They are peak first revolution pills." Before he could finish his words, the female ghost had already snatched all the pill bottles. With a flash of light, she turned into a little girl in a black dress. The long dress covered her feet. It was an extremely ancient dress. Her waist was slender and her breasts were not bulging. She had red lips and white teeth. 2 buns were tied on both sides of her temples. The rest of her beautiful hair was draped over her back. The fringe on her forehead was neat and tidy. How was this a female ghost? She was obviously an extremely cute little girl. The little girl seemed to be only 8 or 9 years old, but her face was bright and charming. She would definitely be a peerless beauty when she grew up. When the girl turned into her true form, a vast aura could no longer be concealed. A faint fragrance spread out from her body and entered Ning Fan's nose. His expression changed. It was the fragrance of a 5th revolution pill and above. A trace of fragrance was enough to improve Ning Fan's cultivation a little. The chi of this little girl made him frown. The chi of this little girl was exactly the same as that of the ferocious beast in the 2nd level of the rain pond. This little girl was a female ghost, a demonic beast, or perhaps a pill devil. Fortunately, this girl did not have a trace of killing intent from the beginning to the end. Moreover, her cultivation base was strange. Her magical force seemed to be at the early gold core realm, but her divine sense had reached the mid-nascent soul realm. Her pink and tender little hand crushed the pill bottle that contained the pills. Then, she opened her little mouth, revealing her cute little canine teeth. She chewed and swallowed all 100 essence-enhancing pills, one mouthful at a time, and swallowed all of them. Although the pills were only first revolution, the pill bottle was made from purple-green jade. Apart from preserving the medicinal effect, its biggest advantage was that it was extremely sturdy. It wouldn't break even if it withstood a gold core attack. However, this little girl crushed the pill bottle effortlessly. She didn't even use any magical power. How terrifying was this little girl's physical body? "It doesn't taste good. This pill biscuit doesn't taste good. Make me something delicious." The little girl looked at Xueqing with dissatisfaction. Immediately, cold sweat broke out on Xueqing's head. "Then I will concoct 2nd revolution pills for you. But I don't have that many spiritual herbs with me." "All right, let my master concoct pills for you. The pills concocted by my master are very delicious." While Xueqing was in a dilemma, he suddenly noticed that Ning Fan was looking at him with a faint smile. Immediately, he pushed his master into the pit of fire. "He knows how to make pill biscuit?" The little girl's eyes widened in disbelief, following Xueqing's finger. A trace of greedy black light flashed in her eyes. Ning Fan felt a sharp pain in his sea of consciousness. He hurriedly took 2 steps back with a slightly surprised look. What kind of divine ability was that black light? How could it make my sword sense hurt? "Hey, make me pill biscuit now. Otherwise, I will eat you." The little girl showed her little tiger teeth and bit them, as if she wanted to scare Ning Fan. "Eat me? My flesh doesn't taste good. But I can indeed concoct more delicious pills for you. But what benefits do I get?" Ning Fan smiled faintly. His eyes fell on the brocade pouch on the little girl's waist. The quality of this brocade pouch was extremely high. It wasn't just a little bit higher than ordinary storage pouch. Due to the carelessness of the little girl, this brocade pouch wasn't fastened tightly. Traces of medicinal fragrance wafted out of it, causing Ning Fan's mind to waver. 1,000 years old spiritual herbs, 2,000 years old spiritual herbs, 5,000 years old spiritual herbs, and even 10,000 years old spiritual herbs. This little girl wasn't just an ordinary wealthy person. Benefits? What benefits do you want? If the pill biscuit you make is delicious, I won't hit you. What do you say? The little girl sounded as if she was negotiating. Hit me? You can't beat me. Then if I win, you have to make me pill biscuit. A black light flashed in the little girl's eyes. She immediately turned into a black ray and rushed towards Ning Fan. She waved her fist lightly, but it was accompanied by a sonic boom. Obviously, the strength of her fist was extremely strong. This girl has such strong strength. Ning Fan's eyes were slightly surprised. Both of his hands glowed with silver light. He slapped his palm on the little girl's fist and immediately used the rebounding force to retreat. At the same time, he slapped his palm on the same spot on the little girl's fist. Every slap caused Ning Fan's blood and chi to churn. It wouldn't be difficult for this girl to kill a late gold core cultivator with just the strength of her fist. After 13 slaps, Ning Fan had already neutralized 90% of the girl's fist strength. Everything happened in an instant. At this moment, Ning Fan no longer retreated. His entire body was covered with silver light and concentrated on his right fist. He activated the ancient beast wrist guard. Demonic chi floated around his body and his fist collided with the little girl's fist. Boom! After a loud bang, the ground of the two fists collided. With the two of them as the epicenter, a few hundred meters of the ground was shattered into pieces. Ning Fan finally withstood the little girl's fist. He had a clearer understanding of the little girl's strength. If he didn't use his trump card, he might not be able to defeat this girl. I really can't beat you. The little girl withdrew her fist and revealed a strange look. With Ning Fan's cultivation base, shouldn't he be able to send one flying with a single punch? But immediately, she revealed an evil smile. I can't beat you, but I have a lot of rain babies to help me. As long as I whistle, all of them will attack you. Tell me, are you going to make me pill cakes or not? The little girl whistled softly. Immediately, innumerable flickering eyes lit up in the dark in the third level of Dark Sparrow's grave. Each of them had a gold core cultivation base. With so many gold core demonic beasts, even Ning Fan felt his scalp going numb. He had never thought that the little girl in front of him was like a dominator to these terrifying demonic beasts. Alright, I'll concoct pills for you. But I don't have the ingredients. I'll use yours. Ning Fan hid his astonished look and pointed at the little girl's storage pouch. The little girl immediately exclaimed, pressed her hands on the pouch and opened her mouth. No, I can't. I don't have any spiritual herbs. I'll use yours. Then there's no other way. If you don't give me the spiritual herbs, you won't get any pill cakes. Ning Fan revealed a teasing look. This little girl seemed to be a pill devil and had the ability to control the demonic beasts in Dark Sparrow's grave. No one knew how many tens of thousands of years she had lived in Dark Sparrow's grave, but her mind seemed to be that of a little girl. Although she was strong, she was pure and untainted. It's not pill cakes. It's pill cakes. The little girl waved her fist discontentedly and corrected him. Alright, pill cakes. You give me the spiritual herbs and I'll make you cakes. In the outside world, I'm a famous Fourth Revolution biscuit master. Wow, you're a biscuit master? You're amazing. The little girl's eyes sparkled with stars. Saliva began to drip from the corner of her mouth. At the side, Xue Qing cursed inwardly at this seemingly stupid conversation. This little girl was the pill devil that he was so afraid of? AI, such a stupid pill devil had scared him to death. Wouldn't that mean that he was even more stupid than the pill devil? Moreover, what was a Fourth Revolution biscuit master? Xue Qing cursed inwardly, but didn't dare to interrupt. The little girl wasn't smart, but her strength couldn't be underestimated. That punch just now wasn't Ning Fan's. If it was him, he would have been smashed into pieces. Ning Fan looked at the little girl with a faint smile. Time passed bit by bit. After a long time, the little girl's eyes showed a slight struggle. She lifted her little head, looked at Ning Fan and asked pitifully, "Are you really a fourth revolution biscuit master?" "It's absolutely true. The cakes you make must be delicious, right? If it's not to your taste, I can remake it. I'll give you all my medicine babies. You can see how to make delicious cakes." The little girl pitifully took the brocade pouch from her waist and handed it to Ning Fan. Her pitiful eyes made Ning Fan vaguely feel that it was shameless of him to deceive a child. However, when his eyes swept across the brocade pouch of the little girl, there was only shock in his eyes. So many millennium spiritual herbs. The storage space of this brocade pouch was even bigger than the entire Sinister Sparrow sect. What was piled inside was an inexhaustible supply of thousand-year-old elixirs. There were even countless millennium spiritual herbs, but they seemed to have been planted with a void realm restriction formation. Moreover, it was driven by void fragmentation magical power. It wasn't something that Ning Fan could break. His eyes sparkled. This formation couldn't be laid down by the little girl. It meant that a void fragmentation expert had laid down this formation for the little girl. The millennium spiritual herbs couldn't be taken away. There might be a void fragmentation expert spying on this place and protecting the little girl in the dark. If it's just a pill devil, why would a void fragmentation expert spy on this place? What's the identity of this girl? Ning Fan's eyes sparkled. When he was about to withdraw his spirit sense, he saw a pile of fruit cores in the most remote corner of the brocade pouch. These fruit cores looked like lychee cores, but they were densely covered with strange Dao marks. There was even a trace of dreamy power flowing out from them. For the first time, Ning Fan's eyes turned serious. He shook the brocade pouch, took out a fruit core, put it on his hand and stared at it. "This is a fruit core. You can't eat it. Grandpa said that the core of the leftover fruit must be brought back." The little girl explained, as if she was afraid that Ning Fan would use the core to make a cake for him. "Grandpa?" Ning Fan's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that Grandpa was the mysterious void fragmentation expert? However, even a void fragmentation expert shouldn't be able to obtain such a divine fruit. The Min Luo fruit was also known as the dream fruit. Eating one would allow one to enter a dream and experience 50 years of reincarnation. This fruit couldn't improve one's cultivation base, but it could improve one's mental state. In terms of value, this fruit was even more precious than the Dao fruit of a nascent soul cultivator. Chapter 116. Xue Qing had already prepared the pill cauldron and the earth fire. Ning Fan sat cross-legged in front of the cauldron, channeling the sword qi between his fingers. He slashed horizontally and vertically, making the fire pit twice as big as before. After strengthening the earth fire, he threw the spiritual herbs into the cauldron. Naturally, these elixirs belonged to the girls. The little girl showed a vexed expression when she saw her treasured herbs being thrown into the cauldron by Ning Fan's. "If the pancakes you make aren't delicious, I'll eat you. We'll know later whether it's delicious or not." Ning Fan's expression remained unchanged as he recalled the memories of ancient chaos. In ancient chaos memories, it was mentioned that a pill devil swallowed a pill to advance. To pill devils, there was only one standard for whether a pill tasted good or not, and that was whether the quality of the pill was high. The pill he was concocting was called Accumulating Cauldron Pill. It had no other effect but to fuse the energy of the spiritual herbs into one and feed it to the demonic beasts and devil beasts to increase their strength. This pill was a third revolution pill, but to human cultivators, it could only be stored in the furnace and not eaten. The physique of humans was much weaker than that of demonic beasts. They were unable to endure the violent medicinal energy. However, the medicinal strength of this pill was wild and fierce. To the little girl, perhaps it was a delicacy. Sure enough, before the pill was formed, a medicinal aroma wafted out. The little girl's eyes immediately filled with desire, and her little hands began to claw at the pill cauldron. She wanted to take the medicinal pill out and eat it. "It smells so good. This biscuit must be delicious. Bright Sparrow wants to eat it. Wait a minute, this cake isn't ready yet. If you open the lid of the cauldron, this cake will immediately turn into ashes. Ning Fan's expression didn't change as he gave a warning. So this little girl is called Bright Sparrow? Bright Sparrow, Dark Sparrow. What was the profound meaning behind them? When the little girl named Bright Sparrow heard that she would not be able to eat the biscuits after opening the cauldron lid, she immediately withdrew her hand reluctantly, not daring to flip the cauldron lid. This scene caused Xueqing to be dumbstruck by this scene. The lid of the pill refining cauldron was extremely hot. If an ordinary cultivator touched it, it wouldn't be strange if their skin was burned to ashes. This little pill devil was scalded by the cauldron, but nothing happened. It was simply a monster. However, Xueqing heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that Bright Sparrow didn't lift the cauldron. It was his first time witnessing Ning Fan concoct a pill with his own eyes. Even though it was a third revolution pill and not a fourth revolution pill, he had only seen a few of the pill concoction techniques in his life. He had been obsessed with concocting pills all his life. At this moment, he was subdued by Ning Fan's mysterious technique. His mind was only left with the thought of observing the concoction process. His fear of the little girl had long disappeared. The scene of Ning Fan slapping the lid of the cauldron and withdrawing the fire-accumulating pill had been replayed in Xueqing's mind for more than 10 times, but he still could not figure out the profound principles behind it. He heaved a deep sigh. Ning Fan was worthy of being a fourth revolution Dan master. His concoction technique left him in the dust. This time, Ning Fan did not even need to use a pill bottle to store the pills. A cauldron of over a dozen third revolution pills. Since the process was simple, it was not difficult to concoct a dozen third revolution pills at the same time. Once the pill was formed, Bright Sparrow could not wait any longer. She used her small hands to pick up the piping hot pill and placed it into her mouth, chewing it and swallowing it. A blissful smile appeared on her small face. Her eyes were filled with gratitude as she looked at Ning Fan. Delicious. The pill biscuits were delicious. I love it. Is that so? Ning Fan's eyes fell on the accumulating cauldron pills and shook his head with a smile. This kind of pill contained a huge amount of energy. Only Bright Sparrow with her demon-like physique could devour it. Even if his body refinement realm had reached the 6th realm of silver light, consuming this pill would only bring more harm than good. What concerned him the most was that he found out that the quality of the accumulating cauldron pills he concocted was a little higher than before. Today, he did not concoct the pills seriously and was extremely hasty. However, the quality of the pills he concocted was higher than before. Why was that? He released his spirit sense and scanned the pills in Bright Sparrow's small hands. He suddenly found out that there were some damaged lines on each of the pills. These traces of lines carried an extremely faint trace of divine intent, just like the divine intent of rain in the rain. However, it was not the complete divine intent of rain. It was just damaged. Even so, the quality of the pills he concocted had improved by a lot. I have actually comprehended a trace of the divine intent of rain after experiencing the 3 layers of rain. Ning Fan's face was full of uncertainty. There was both joy and disappointment in his heart. He was happy that he had comprehended a trace of the incomplete divine intent in the 3 layers. If he could walk through the 9 levels of Dark Sparrow's grave and experience what Kei Shensi had experienced in the past, he would most likely comprehend the complete divine intent of rain. If that was the case, he would be able to concoct a 5th revolution pill with the help of the divine intent of rain and become a 5th revolution pill master. Compared to the 4th revolution, the 5th revolution only had the void spirit intent, but the effect of the pill was worlds apart. 4th revolution pill was sought after by nascent soul realm old monsters. If the quality of a 5th revolution pill was higher, even spirit-severing realm old monsters would be tempted. The word spirit in spirit-severing realm was the divine intent. Without the divine intent, it was impossible to concoct a 5th revolution pill. With the divine intent, a 5th revolution pill was enough to tempt a spirit-severing realm old monster. He remembered that the mysterious woman had told him that the Lost World Palace gave preferential treatment to alchemists. If his concoction technique could advance from the fourth revolution to the fifth revolution, he would be able to enter the higher levels of the Lost World Tower and enjoy the slower flow of time. Advancing to the next level would save him half of the time needed to form the core. It was precisely because he was overjoyed that he felt disappointed and helpless. It was easier said than done to comprehend the complete divine intent of Rain in all 9 levels of Dark Sparrow's grave. Given his current cultivation base, he would certainly be besieged to death by nascent soul demonic beasts if he entered the 4th level. If he entered the 5th level, he wouldn't even have the strength to fight back against spirit-severing demonic beasts. If he went deeper, after the 7th level, even the void fragmentation old monsters of Rain Palace wouldn't be able to enter. How could he do that? He was being too greedy and insatiable. It was already extremely rare for a peak harmonious spirit expert to comprehend a trace of the divine intent of Rain. If he wanted to comprehend the complete divine intent, not to mention the lack of opportunity, his magical power was far from enough. "I've been too greedy," Ning Fan withdrew his expression. Once again, his heart was being interrogated by his desire. After suppressing his desire, his state of mind had improved. The 5th level of Dark Sparrow's grave had the profound Yin Qi. The 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave had the immortal bone of Dark Sparrow and Kei Shensi. The Min Luo fruit was hidden in the Dark Sparrow's grave. However, it seemed that his opportunity had come to an end. "Forget it. I'll stay here for the time being and devour the black demon flame." The earth vein demonic flames were all 5th grade spiritual flames. He had 2 of them, the black demon flame and the white bone flame. The heavenly frost cold chi was cold chi. He had a type of bone prison chi. Among the 12 earth vein demonic flames, the black demon flame was ranked 6th while the white bone flame was ranked 11th. Among the 12 heavenly frost cold chi, the bone prison chi was ranked 12th. With the advancement of his cultivation base and the enlightenment of his cultivation law, Ning Fan had a clearer understanding of his own cultivation law. His main cultivation law was the yin-yang transformation. Under this cultivation law, his dual spirit evil veins were divided into black demon art and snow treading art. Dual cultivation of ice and fire, the integration of yin and yang, the combination of yin and yang, the white robe and black cloak, and even his character of being cold on the outside but warm on the inside, all of these were secretly in line with the great Tao of yin and yang. After obtaining the pill, the little girl put it back into the brocade pouch and left happily with the pill biscuit in her mouth. No one knew where she went. After laying down the defensive formation in the 3rd level of Dark Sparrow's grave, Ning Fan spent the entire 10 days in seclusion, devouring the 2 types of demonic flames. Perhaps this was the last time his magical power would improve before he formed his core. It only took him 10 days to devour the black demon flame. It wasn't only because he had refined one of the 9 dragons, but also because this flame had been tamed by the old monster for many years. When he passed it to Ning Fan, the old monster had erased the spiritual sense of the black demon flame to reduce the difficulty of devouring it. After refining the black demon flame, black flames could be vaguely seen flickering in Ning Fan's eyes. With a casual point of his finger, 9 black fire dragons were ready to come out. With this flame, no one in the harmonious spirit realm could withstand the 9 dragons' black flame without using magical techniques. Along with the refinement of the black demon flame, Ning Fan's cultivation base broke through again, taking the last step towards the gold core realm. An illusory black fire core was condensed in his dantian. Around his body, a vast aura spread out like a gale. His cultivation base had broken through the half-step gold core realm and reached the false core realm. An illusory core had already condensed in his body. Breaking through to the gold core realm from the false core realm had increased his success rate by another 5%. Going into seclusion after breaking through to the gold core realm would save him a few years of bitter cultivation. With his magical power doubled, it would be easier for Ning Fan to win against by fading. The blazing magical chi made Xue Qin gasp for breath. Ning Fan's chi seemed to be even stronger than the 10 strongest old monsters in Yu country. The pupil had surpassed the master. False core? I only need to sever my emotions to reach the gold core realm. Ning Fan closed his eyes slightly. There was no joy of breaking through, only worry. For the first time, he realized that his state of mind couldn't keep up with the advancement of his cultivation base. After refining the black demon flame, there was still the white bone flame in the yin-yang locket to be refined, but Ning Fan didn't refine it yet. If he devoured it again, it would be hard for him to suppress his cultivation base. He had to go into seclusion immediately to form his core, otherwise, his body would explode and he would die. Moreover, he could vaguely feel that he should devour the cold qi and demonic flame according to the rhythm of one fire and one ice. This way, he would be able to obtain great benefits from the great Tao of yin and yang. He didn't know what the benefits would be, but this was his intuition. This was a cultivator's intuition after his cultivation base had reached a certain level. It was also his understanding of cultivation methods. With my current strength, going to the 4th level is equivalent to courting death. Ning Fan looked at a huge pit in the 3rd level of the grave and let out a sigh. He couldn't go beyond the 4th level, so he could only let go of the profound yin qi. It was said that if one could obtain all the 12 heavenly frost cold qi or the 12 earth vein demonic flames, he would be able to fight against a void fragmentation expert. However, Ning Fan was a dual spirit cultivator. If he could obtain 6 of the cold qi and demonic flame, he would have 12 of them. Therefore, he didn't need the profound yin qi. He gazed at the huge pit and shook his head slightly. It would be great if he could enter the 4th level. He turned around and was about to leave. But at this moment, a black-clothed girl leaped from the huge pit to the 3rd level, ignoring the forbidden force of flying. Ayaya. Cookie Master Brother, you haven't left yet? That's great. I still want to eat some pill cookies. Can you make them for me? All of a sudden, Ning Fan's eyes sparkled. He might as well let this little girl of unknown origin bring him to all the 9 levels of Dark Sparrow's grave. Although he didn't know the success rate of this move, it was worth a try. I can concoct pills for you, but you have to promise me one thing. Ning Fan's eyes flickered. The little girl's body shuddered and instinctively took a step back. Promise what? If you want my medicine baby, I can't give it to you. Cloud baby, I can't give it to you. Rain baby, they are all my babies. I don't want your babies. I just want to go to the lower levels of Dark Sparrow's grave to have a look. That's it? That's easy. I'll bring you there and no one will dare to eat you. Quick, make me some pill cookies. When they are delicious, I'll bring you to whichever level you want to go to. Bright Sparrow patted her chest and vowed solemnly, as if she was afraid that Ning Fan would go back on his words. Wasn't it just going to Dark Sparrow's grave? It's not a big deal, it's too simple. The more she looked at Ning Fan, the more she found him pleasing to her eyes. He was simply the most good-looking human she had ever seen. Moreover, she especially liked this human, who was also a biscuit master. What a fascinating occupation. One day, I'll become a biscuit refiner too. The lid of the cauldron was slapped open. A wisp of pill fragrance rushed out, intoxicating Bright Sparrow. She stretched her neck and kept smelling it. Holding a pile of fragrant pill cookies in her hands, she was going to bring Ning Fan to the 4th level of Dark Sparrow's grave as promised. With her leading the way, none of the nascent soul demonic beasts along the way would dare to attack Ning Fan. Master, you go. I won't be going. 10 days have passed in the 1st level of Dark Sparrow's grave. I wonder how Master's wives are doing. Disciple is worried. I'm willing to protect Master's wives on behalf of Master. Xue Qing's words were pleasant to hear, but in his heart he was afraid of the 4th level of Dark Sparrow's grave. Nascent soul demonic beasts. Xue Qing didn't want to confront them. With Si Wuxie and the spiritual fire of the Dan fragmentation cauldron, the girls didn't need Xue Qing's protection. But since Xue Qing insisted on leaving, Ning Fan naturally wouldn't stop him. And you can go back now. Ning Fan could see the fear in Xue Qing's eyes, but he didn't expose it. After Xue Qing left, Ning Fan held the Separation Slayer in his hand as if he was facing a formidable enemy. Then, he leaped into the huge pit of the 4th level with the little girl. Hold me. Don't get lost, or else, those wolf babies will eat you. Bright Sparrow made a funny face and grabbed Ning Fan's hand with her little hand. The tremendous force wasn't something that Ning Fan could break free from. Ning Fan felt touched, but at the same time, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What if the nascent soul demonic beasts weren't deterred by the little girl when they reached the 4th level and continued to attack him? How was he going to escape if he was held by the little girl? While he was pondering, the 4th level of Dark Sparrow's grave came into view. Chapter 117. The little girl's hand contained boundless strength. If it wasn't for Ning Fan's extraordinary physical body, perhaps just the strength of her grip would be enough to severely injure him. After entering the 4th floor, the little girl stomped her foot on the ground and a 4-marked immortal cloud immediately rose from the ground. Ning Fan felt that this cloud was familiar. It was the same cloud he saw in the rain pond. "Tell me, where do you want to see the rain? I'll take you there." The little girl held a pill in her mouth. Her long eyelashes curved into the shape of a crescent moon as she smiled sweetly. There was nothing better than eating delicious pill biscuits. Ning Fan was a good person. She wanted to show him around the world. The 4-stripe immortal cloud was instantly comparable to a nascent soul cultivator. The little girl shot a beam of black light at the cloud. The cloud was enveloped by a sinister wind, and its speed doubled again. It was comparable to the speed of a mid-nascent soul cultivator. Above the immortal cloud, Ning Fan closed his eyes, letting the raindrops wet his face. In the surroundings, there were shadows of nascent soul realm demonic beasts leaping out from time to time. It seemed like they were attracted by the smell of Ning Fan's blood and flesh. Each of them was ready to eat Ning Fan. But every time this happened, the little girl would snort and wave her fists, causing the beasts to show signs of struggle and scatter. It was unknown what the identity of the little girl was, but the demonic beasts here all seemed to obey her commands. "Big Brother Biscuit, don't worry. With me here, no one can hurt you." The little girl stuck out her chest and smiled proudly. "Biscuit Brother, except for Grandpa, I'm not afraid of anyone in this Dark Sparrow's grave. Don't worry, no one can bully you." The little girl was chattering nonstop, trying to please Ning Fan. As for her purpose, it was obvious. She wanted to gain some benefits after pleasing Ning Fan. Ning Fan felt helpless towards the way the little girl addressed him. If the cultivators in the outside world knew that he, the dignified, revered Ning, was called Brother Biscuit by a little girl, his reputation would be ruined. Gradually, he could no longer hear the clamor of the little girl. He could only hear the rain falling on his heart. There was no rain in the 3rd layer, but the 4th layer was like the 1st and 2nd layers, with rain falling continuously. However, if one had to point out some differences, there were still some. Along with a trace of understanding towards the divine intent of rain, Ning Fan discovered that the rain in the 1st level was gloomy and cold. It was the coldness of spring. As for the 2nd layer of rain, it was even colder, but it had the feeling of a torrential summer rain. As for the rain on the 4th level, it was lonely and desolate with a hint of solemnity. This was the autumn rain. No matter how proficient Ning Fan's icy rain technique was, the rain would eventually turn into icicles, because without the divine intent of rain, the rain would no longer be rain. He closed his eyes to comprehend the divine intent of rain. There were a few spirit-severing demonic beasts hiding in the surroundings. These demonic beasts had also comprehended the divine intent of rain after being immersed in the icy rain day and night. When Ning Fan entered the 5th level, each of the demonic beasts immediately revealed their bloodthirsty eyes, but when they were glared at by the girl, they obediently withdrew their killing intent. They didn't dare to have any ideas on Ning Fan anymore, but in their hearts, they despised Ning Fan. Demonic beasts above the Gold Core realm could transform into human form. These demonic beasts didn't transform into human form, but they possessed intelligence that wasn't inferior to humans. This kid is only at the harmonious spirit realm, but he wants to comprehend the void spirit intent. Ridiculous! A giant elephant beast said coldly in the demonic language. However, he is being protected by that person. It's best that we don't interfere in his matters. Another rhinoceros demonic beast said with fear. These demonic beasts were definitely peerless ferocious beasts in the rain immortal world, but all of them were afraid of the girl. Just like what these demonic beasts said, Ning Fan didn't have an easy time comprehending the divine intent of rain in the 5th level. For the first time, he couldn't hear Kei Shenxi's comprehension in the rain. The 5th level seemed to be a watershed. The divine intent of rain began to change qualitatively in this level. Compared to the comprehension in the 5th level, the comprehension in the first 4 levels was insignificant. What am I missing? Ning Fan knitted his brows. However, the little girl spoke in an urging tone. Cookie brother, are you done yet? You said that you will make pill cookies for me to eat. I'm hungry. All right, I got it. Ning Fan opened his eyes helplessly. He was already unable to comprehend the divine intent of rain, but his mind became even more restless after being disturbed by the girl. He took out Xue Qing's pill cauldron and waved his sword to draw out the earth fire, but he helplessly found that the divine intent of rain in the 5th level was too strong to draw out the earth fire. It wasn't that there was no earth fire, but all the earth fire had been assimilated by the divine intent of rain into rainwater and seeped into the ground. This junior is quite interesting. The divine intent of rain is too strong. Without earth fire, how can he concoct pills? A white ape sneered in the demonic language. How could this be? There's no fire here. How can I bake the cookies? The girl looked anxious and worried, but at this moment, she heard the sneer of the white ape. She glared at the snickering white ape, raised her finger and ordered, "You, come here and conjure out the earth fire for me, or else I will ask Grandpa to catch you and roast you." The white ape was initially gloating, but when he heard the girl's order, his monkey face turned as bitter as a melon, as if he had lost his parents. Immediately, he turned into a ray of light and rushed to the front of the girl, trying to please her. With a magical art that carried the divine intent of rain, he slapped on the pit of earth fire and dispersed the divine intent of rain. As for the earth fire that had been assimilated into rainwater, it burned again as soon as the divine intent of rain dispersed. "Hee, I have the earth fire. All right, baby ape, you can go and play now." "Yes. The dignified spirit-severing devil ape didn't show any dissatisfaction when the girl called him baby ape. Instead, he revealed a look of joy. In the dark sparrow's grave, as long as he became the baby of the girl, he wouldn't have to worry about being eaten by her in the future. Each of the demonic beasts looked at the white ape with envy. After all, it wasn't every day that they had the chance to please the girl. However, Ning Fan didn't put any of them in his eyes. The demonic chi of any demonic beast beside him was enough to suffocate him, but at this moment, he couldn't see any of them. In his eyes, there was only the pit of fire and the faintly lit earth fire. The white ape's palm strike just now gradually brightened his eyes. It turned out that the void spirit intent was assimilation. Merely comprehending it wasn't enough. He had to activate the divine intent to assimilate magical arts, earth fire, and all the enemies that entered the domain of the divine intent. A trace of enlightenment gradually rose in his mind. He didn't immediately help the girl concoct the pill, but performed a hand seal and cast the ice rain technique over and over again. After 10 times, the rain still turned into ice. After 100 times, there were only 1 or 2 drops of ice that hadn't solidified. After 1,000 times, half of the ice was still in the form of rain. After 1,000 times, Ning Fan closed his eyes. Finally, he could hear Kei Shenxi's sigh. That sigh was assimilated by the divine intent of rain and turned into raindrops. Previously, he couldn't distinguish the raindrops, but now, he could tell which drops of raindrops were the enlightenment with a single glance. What is rain? I can create clouds with a flip of my hand and rain with a flip of my hand. Kei Shenxi's words were just a sentence, but it was enough to enlighten him and awaken the last shred of doubt in his heart. At this moment, he opened his eyes. His gaze wasn't as easygoing as usual. It became arrogant and domineering. He cast the ice rain technique. Suddenly, thousands of icicles appeared in the sky. Half of them were ice and the other half were rain. A trace of divine intent was activated in Ning Fan's mind. In the air, the few drops of divine intent of rain left by Kei Shenxi were grasped in his palm and crushed. He shouted coldly, "I turn my hand and rain comes." He turned his palm fiercely and all the icicles turned into raindrops at the same time. This ice rain technique could only turn the icicles into raindrops. It couldn't be considered as a divine intent magical art. Even so, its power had increased by at least 30%. In Ningfan's mind, a trace of the divine intent of rain was like a rolling snowball, growing stronger and stronger. This scene made all the spirit-severing demonic beasts dumbfounded. Which demonic beast didn't spend a long time to comprehend a trace of divine intent? Besides the white ape and a few other demonic beasts, most of them hadn't understood the usage of the void god intent. However, Ningfan was just a harmonious spirit realm cultivator, yet he managed to comprehend the divine intent before most of the spirit-severing demonic beasts. Once he did, none of the demonic beasts present would be a match for him. "Biscuit brother, do you want to go to the 6th level first?" the little girl asked while biting her lips. She really wanted to fill her stomach immediately, but she could see that Ningfan seemed to have made a lot of progress in his comprehension. She was afraid that her gluttony would interrupt Ningfan's state of mind. "No need. I'll concoct pills for you. It doesn't matter whether I go to the next few levels or not." The expression in Ningfan's eyes faded away. He smiled faintly and began to concoct pills. After comprehending the 5th level, he had a preliminary understanding of the usage of the divine intent of rain. However, this divine intent was far from what he could control with his current magical power. With his current magical power, it was impossible for him to completely turn the ice rain technique into icy rain. Those divine intents were the magical techniques left behind by Kei Shensi. By relying on this technique, he finally comprehended the profoundness of the divine intent of rain. In his point of view, the 6th, 7th, 8th, and even the 9th level was probably the process of Kei Shensi condensing the divine intent and fusing it with his own Tao comprehension. Ningfan hadn't formed his own Tao, nor did he have enough magical power to completely fuse the divine intent that belonged to him. Even so, with the little bit of divine intent that he had comprehended, he should be able to concoct a 5th-rank pill. He didn't concoct a 5th-rank pill immediately. With his current concoction technique, even if he succeeded in one try, it would take him at least half a year to concoct a 5th-rank pill. However, he still had a way to test if his concoction technique had improved. In his mind, he recalled the concoction technique of the 9 revolutions of River Wheel in the ancient chaotic land. His fingers were covered in black flames, drawing circles along a mysterious trajectory in the void in front of him. 1 revolution, 2 revolutions, 3 revolutions, 4 revolutions. He drew 4 circles in a row. After that, his fingers couldn't move anymore. A trace of barrier force made it hard for Ningfan's fingers to move. 4 circles represent the 4th revolution pill concoction technique. If I can draw the 5th circle, I will be able to concoct a 5th revolution pill. His eyes revealed an indifferent expression. A faint trace of the divine intent of rain emerged in his eyes. This divine intent passed through his heart to his fingers and fused with the black flames, causing a layer of rain intent to surface on the blazing black flames. At this moment, his finger, which was originally frozen, was filled with spiritual power. Immediately, he drew out a 5th illusionary circle in the air. The 5th circle wasn't drawn perfectly. As soon as it was drawn, it immediately exploded. This indicated that his concoction technique had reached the 5th revolution and that it would be extremely difficult for him to concoct a 5th revolution pill. 9 out of 10 pills would be destroyed. He had to thank the heavens for his one and only success. However, no matter what, from the moment he drew the 5th illusory circle, Ningfan was already a 5th revolution pill concoction master. His harvest in this trip to the Dark Sparrow's grave couldn't be considered small. With the improvement in his concoction technique, he could concoct 3rd revolution pills with greater ease. Before the pill was completed, the little girl couldn't hold back her excitement. Her mouth was watering because of the fragrance of the pill. "It smells so good. It's even more fragrant than before. Why is it like this?" "Because I'm now a 5th revolution cookie concoction master." Ningfan patted the lid of the cauldron. The pill was done. "Cookie brother, you're so awesome. If Grandpa knows that you're so awesome, he will surely like you." The little girl took the pill and put it into her mouth, disregarding the scorching heat of the pill. As soon as Ning Fan heard the name Grandpa, his heart shuddered. That grandpa was naturally a void fragmentation expert. He wondered if he was being monitored by that void fragmentation expert when he comprehended the divine intent. After refining the black demon flame and improving his concoction technique, he had gained a lot from this trip. It would be best if he could obtain the profound Yin Qi along the way. The profound Yin Qi was ranked 9th among the heavenly frost cold Qi. Many experts of Rain Immortal World had come to the Dark Sparrow's grave, but none of them could find this cold Qi. The cold Qi didn't have a spirit. It wouldn't hide on its own. If Ning Fan didn't understand why no one could find the cold Qi before, he could guess the reason now. Perhaps the little girl in front of him treated it as a cold Qi treasure and hid it. Little girl, I wonder where the profound Yin Qi is. I know. And no, I don't know. What do you want to do to my profound treasure? The little girl put down the pill and took 2 steps back. She looked at Ning Fan with a worried expression. Looking at the pill in her hand, her eyes flashed with a trace of awkwardness. You're good to me, better than mysterious baby. It ignored me and didn't make pill cakes for me to eat. If you can make more delicious cakes for me, 1,000 times, 10,000 times better than this cake, I'll tell you where mysterious baby is hiding. If that's the case, in the future, when I concoct a 5th revolution pill, I will exchange the profound Yin Qi with you. Ning Fan pondered for a moment. He was afraid that only a 5th revolution pill could meet the requirement of 1,000 times, 10,000 times better than a 3rd revolution pill. It wouldn't be appropriate to rob the little girl by force. There was a void fragmentation expert spying on them in the dark. At this moment, Ning Fan wasn't in a hurry to use the profound Yin Qi. It wouldn't be lost in Sinister Sparrow sect. In the future, he would concoct a 5th revolution pill and give it to the little girl. Compared to the profound Yin Qi, Ning Fan was more interested in another thing. Which level does the Ming Luo fruit grow on? What Ming Luo fruit? The little girl tilted her head in confusion. It's the leftover seeds of the fruit. That guagua grows on the 9th level. It's in Grandpa's hand. Cookie brother, even if you want to eat it, you can't. Grandpa said that even I can only eat 1 fruit in 10 years. Is that so? Forget it. Ning Fan shook his head. If the Ming Luo fruit was in the hands of a void fragmentation old expert, Ning Fan knew that he wouldn't be able to cheat a Ming Luo fruit from them no matter what. A Ming Luo fruit could increase one's mental state by 50 years in a single dream. It seemed like such a good thing was going to be missed, but just as he was shaking his head, a voice suddenly sounded behind him. A 5th revolution pill master. In this case, you are qualified to talk to me. You want the Ming Luo fruit? Fine, but you have to promise me a condition. The voice appeared without any sign. Although it sounded calm, there was a hidden murderous intent in it. It didn't give Ning Fan any room to refuse the condition. Ning Fan could only agree to the condition, otherwise, he would die. As soon as the words came out, the usually lawless little girl immediately revealed a fearful expression. She put her hands behind her back and hid all the pills. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.